Chapter 496. With a stealth, Lu Chen changed into a human skin and appeared in front of everyone again. Although his appearance had changed, his gaze remained the same. Everyone could see that Solipsistic's gaze was not murderous. When he walked over, everyone could feel a chill and couldn't help but retreat. Standing in front of the three soldiers, Lu Chen sneered. "Do the three of you still recognize me?" The three of them were the death warriors who had issued the mission. When they were watching the show, the three of them had been chatting enthusiastically. Now, they had another topic to talk about. Even when Solipsistic walked in front of them, they still didn't know what was going on. "Mad God, why you want to give us pills too, don't you?" They clearly saw how Mad God casually gave the old man a dozen regeneration pills. Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. The three of them were really funny. They didn't even know who he was. Taking out the exile mask, Lu Chen put it on and placed his right hand behind his back. "What about now? Do you still think I'm here to give you pills?" The three of them were flabbergasted. They tried to identify it carefully. Gradually, an image appeared in their minds. Once they thought of that person, their faces turned pale and their eyes filled with fear. "Why, you're that cripple." Lu Chen took off his mask and smiled. "You remember now? Very good, I don't have to help you remember. Since you recognize me, then you three should also remember that during the mission, you colluded with the Sky Devil race and sold me information. You sent me to my death." The three of them couldn't help but retreat. Their bodies were trembling, but their mouths were still quibbling. "Mad God, why you must be mistaken. We don't know what you're talking about. Colluding with the Sky Devil race? We would never collude with outsiders. That's right. We've been issuing missions in the City of Exiles and haven't left the city at all." At the side, a man in armor also walked up. "Mad God, are you mistaken? The three of them are my subordinates. If they really did collude with other races, I will definitely punish them severely. But everything needs to have evidence." "That's right. Lord Drifting Goblet, please help us." Drifting Goblet glanced at the three of them and said, "If the three of you are really colluding with outsiders, I won't protect you." Lu Chen smiled. "Evidence? Sorry, I don't have any. This? If you don't have any evidence, please calm down. Give me some time, and I will get to the bottom of this. If the three of them really betrayed the human race and used their authority to make things difficult for Mad God, I, Drifting Goblet, will definitely give you an explanation." Lu Chen shook his head. "I appreciate your professional integrity, but I don't need you to give me justice. If you want to investigate, you can do it afterwards. But no one can protect the person I want." Then, Lu Chen's gaze gradually turned cold. "Little furball, let's eat. Don't leave a single bone for me." The little furball jumped out of Lu Chen's palm and enlarged in midair. When the surrounding people saw this fellow, they hurriedly dodged. The three pitiful people didn't even have time to dodge before the little furball pounced on them and bit them on the shoulder. Mad God, we were wrong. You can kill us to vent your anger, but please don't destroy our bodies. Spare us, Mad God. Spare us. Lord Drifting Goblet, please save us." Lu Chen looked at the three impatiently. "Little furball, eat slowly." Drifting Goblet's eyes widened, but he didn't dare to stop him. Even Dongfang Ji wasn't a match for Solipsistic. Not only would he not be able to save them, he might even cause Mad God to vent his anger on the City of Exiles. If this matter was true, Mad God had been framed in the City of Exiles. If the investigation was carried out, the City of Exiles wouldn't be able to get away with it. Moreover, a person like Mad God wouldn't make things difficult for mere soldiers. This matter was definitely true, but there was no evidence. Drifting Goblet wasn't stupid. He didn't try to stop Lu Chen. Amidst the screams, the three mission officers were devoured by the little furball. Not even their bones were left. Even those who had participated in the cruel battles of the 10,000 tribes battlefield all year round were shocked and frightened by this scene. At the moment, people's impression of Solipsistic was becoming more and more difficult to define. He had won the battle against the Dongfang family, but he hadn't really killed them. To the City of Exiles, the old man was like an old friend. He gave them medicine, added them as friends, and called them brother. He didn't put on airs at all. Sometimes, he would be so cruel that he would let his battle pets devour 3 soldiers. Also, he wouldn't give anyone a chance to explain. He didn't even show respect to the city of exiles. He was unreasonable. Instead of calling such a lone tyrant Mad God, it would be better to call him Mad Demon. After killing the 3 little people, Lu Chen snorted and turned around. Little furball, let's go. He didn't know if the Dongfang family would remember Azura. Anyway, Lu Chen didn't need to take his body with him. He would just leave him at the gate of the city of exiles and let him revive himself. Cowherd walked next to Lu Chen without saying a word. Lu Chen looked at Cowherd curiously. Why are you so quiet? That's not your style. Cowherd darted a look at Lu Chen. I'm just too excited. Kid, I didn't know that you were so strong. Not even Marshal Tianming could defeat you. That little bit of blood essence of yours is so powerful. Also, you killed those 3 little people well. That was so satisfying. I've wanted to kill them for a long time, but I didn't dare to offend the city of exiles. Now I can finally vent my anger. I didn't think that I would run into you when I was on the move. Pig, tell me, will I die when you get close to me? No, you're also very good at long-range attacks. That purple mist blind kill really blinded me. Lu Chen shook his head with a smile. But you should stop for a while. Let's find a place to look at the treasure map. Hey, you haven't answered me yet. Are you good at long-range attacks, close-range attacks, or battle pets? Tell me, I'm very curious. Lu Chen regretted opening Cowherd's mouth and hurried to the front. Under a giant tree in the battlefield, Lu Chen and Cowherd cleared a patch of grass and sat on the ground to study the treasure map. Lu Chen already had a complete treasure map in his hands. He had looked at the previous 7 copies and compared them to the one from the Dongfang family. The one from the Dongfang family was based on the surrounding mountains. It seemed useless. However, Lu Chen noticed that there were 3 lines of words in the upper right corner. Heaven and earth give birth to treasures. Those who are fated can obtain them. When heaven and earth are reversed, there is a place for treasures. When the sun and the moon alternate, there is a time for treasures. Lu Chen frowned and looked at Cowherd. Oh my God. I'm so lucky to have this last corner. The meaning of the 2 sentences was obvious. The first sentence was that the coordinates had to be reversed. That was the true location of the treasure. The second sentence was that after finding the treasure, there was a time requirement to take it out. When the sun and the moon alternate, it would be 4 or 5 in the morning and 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Sure enough, the last corner they were missing actually hid the most important information. Without this corner, Lu Chen was afraid that he would never be able to find the treasure. It was interesting. The Dongfang family had the most important information, but they didn't know the location of the treasure. That's a good place to hide. Cowherd frowned. Heaven and earth give birth to treasures. That sounds powerful. No wonder the Dongfang family is trying so hard to find the treasure map. Lu Chen nodded. But now that we know where the treasure is, let's go. Chapter 497. After reversing the coordinates on the treasure map, Lu Chen and Cowherd headed towards the new treasure location. Kid, aren't the new coordinates in human territory? Is it okay for just the 2 of us to go? Cowherd was still worried. There's a saying in my hometown, nothing ventured, nothing gained. We just have to be a little more careful. Along the way, they encountered many racial wars. However, Lu Chen's eyesight was amazing. With Cowherd's little bobcat scouting the way, the 2 of them avoided the battlefield and continued to approach their destination. When it came to treasure hunting, the fewer people who knew about it, the better. The 2 of them kept a low profile. Later on, they rested during the day and traveled at night. Everyone said that the myriad race battlefield was dangerous. However, on the other hand, there were almost no lone players in the myriad race battlefield. As long as they avoided large groups, it was only the 2 of them traveling. During the day, when they rested in the cave, the 2 of them took turns to go offline to eat and let Furry and the others guard the cave entrance. However, they only had a quick meal and still slept online. Lu Yi prepared food every day and waited for her brother to come down to eat. Speaking of which, although Lu Chen encountered a few huge changes in the 3rd heaven, He had only been in the third heaven for about a month. During the meal, Lu Yi was also very curious about the third heaven. The two of them would chat while eating. "Brother, you seem to be very busy recently. Is the third heaven very dangerous?" Lu Chen stuffed himself with food and muttered, "It's dangerous. You guys train well in the second heaven. Don't be in a hurry to come to the third heaven. We can't go even if we want to. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was killed by you, but it's still too early for us to defeat the Hell Mode boss." Lu Chen nodded. It was a good thing that the players from Earth did not come to the third heaven. He could not take care of so many people now. "After I left, did anyone cause trouble for you guys?" "Not really. We're taking advantage of the time to level up. Now, each country has set up a special department in charge of purchasing equipment. It feels like everyone is preparing for war." Lu Chen smiled. "That's good. Earth is too weak. We have to unite or we won't be able to survive." "Brother, are there aliens in the third heaven?" "Not just aliens. Most of them are not even human." "Not human? What was the meaning of this? Wasn't he a human?" "I've already thought about it. The second heavens division is the human galaxy's 19th district. If the third heaven is combined, then there might be other strange races." Lu Yi's interest was immediately piqued. "Brother, are they strong?" Lu Chen thought about it. He couldn't say too much, or Lu Yi would be under too much pressure. It was just like when you were level 1 and suddenly found out that the monsters behind you were all level 100. There was no process of progressing step by step. Instead, it made you lose motivation. Moreover, the terror of the third heaven was not as simple as a few foreign races. 10,000 races were fighting for hegemony, the human race was weak, attributes were extracted, the physical body was damaged, and the human heart was sinister. Various major forces had various kinds of elixirs to increase attributes, and so on. The third heaven had more opportunities, but there was no doubt that the first and second heavens could not compare to the dangers. Lu Chen didn't want his sister to know about these things too early. He didn't even want his sister to come to the third heaven. However, just the extraction of attributes alone was not enough to stop people from crazily longing for the third heaven. Lu Yi was his sister after all. Both siblings had strong personalities, and his sister had grown up. He couldn't help his sister make these decisions. In short, he would wait for Lu Yi and the others to increase their strength first. "It's okay. Don't think too much. You'll know what the third heaven is like when you come and see for yourself. Now, you guys should focus on leveling up and getting equipment." "Oh, I know." Lu Yi pouted disappointedly. "Actually, I know even if you don't say it. You must be very powerful to be able to go to the third heaven. But don't worry, I'll definitely go to the third heaven to look for you." Then, Lu Chen asked about the development of violent waves. Now, violent waves had become one of the major forces on Earth. Leng Nua had completely given up on her acting career and focused on managing violent waves. Now, with the influence of Jiutian, it had far surpassed the film industry. Leng Nua had also unexpectedly become an influential figure in another field. In addition, the experts on Earth were also humbly learning from the old players in the second heaven. Their strength was steadily increasing. Seeing that Earth's development was not bad, Lu Chen had nothing to worry about. Li Muhua and the others still lived near Lu Chen's house. They took the opportunity to call him when it was time for dinner. The Huaxia Alliance wanted to know about the third heaven. Lu Chen did not know much about the third heaven and only gave them a few important pieces of information. First, the third heaven was more difficult and cruel. The physical body would directly affect the players. However, Lu Chen himself was not particularly clear about the extent of the effect. Second, the third heaven's overall environment was a struggle for hegemony. The human race only occupied 1/10,000th of the territory. Moreover, within the human race, the major forces were entrenched. "Muwa, there's one more thing that I have to tell your boss." Lu Chen's tone was not joking. Li Muhua was still immersed in the shock of the first 2 points. When he heard Lu Chen's rare serious tone, he knew that the last point must be very important. He immediately said, "Okay, I'll bring my boss here." "Bring your boss here? Aren't you nearby?" "Yes, my boss is here too. He also lives here." Now, the entire neighborhood has been taken over by us. You're surrounded by us, huh? Fuck, I bought a commercial building, okay? I didn't buy a military base. Big brother, don't you know? Right now, your personal safety is the highest priority in Huaxia. Your safety is related to the direction of human society. Who would dare to not pay attention to you? Don't worry, I promise you that our mission is to ensure the safety of you and Lu Yi. Nothing else. Lu Chen trusted Li Muhua's character. Moreover, he was online for a long time. If his sister went out, he would feel more at ease with someone protecting her. Alright, then I'll ask the leader to come over personally. When he was online, he and Cowherd were still hiding in the cave. With the little furball around, it was not a big problem. However, what he wanted to say was very important. Lu Chen spent more time offline today. Fortunately, not long after, Li Muhua arrived at Lu Chen's villa with an old man. Lu Chen had never seen this old man before. However, from the star mark on his shoulder, it was enough to tell his level. Ah, mad god, how are you? The old man walked over enthusiastically as soon as he entered and took the initiative to shake Lu Chen's hand. Nice to meet you, sir, Lu Chen said politely. What, sir? I'm not your sir. Just call me Old Lin. The person who came was the mysterious person who had planned this, Li Mua's boss, Lin Hai. Mad god, Muhua said that you have something to tell me personally? Lu Chen nodded. Elder Lin, I'll say this first. The environment I'm in online is not absolutely safe, so I'm afraid I can't talk to you in detail. Is that so? Alright, let's make it short. Lu Chen immediately told Elder Lin about the attribute extraction. The upper limit of level 3 is level 4. The maximum extraction for each attribute is 100 points. Currently, I can't buy or exchange materials with my military rank. I don't know what a little attribute is in the real world, Lu Chen said. However, no matter how much it is, this is an illegal thing. I haven't mentioned this to anyone yet. I'm afraid that it might cause a riot if it gets out. Lin Hai frowned. Although he was mentally prepared and knew that what Lu Chen was going to say was not a small matter, after hearing it for a long time, even with his courage and wisdom, he still couldn't calm down. Little Lu, you've done the right thing. I need to report this to my superiors. We need to discuss this at length. Yes, I believe you. That, Elder Lin, I really have to go online. I've offended some people recently and I feel that it's not safe. Oh? You've just gone online and you've already offended people? Can you handle it? Do you need any support from us? Lin Hai looked at Lu Chen worriedly. This kid's safety was too important to humans, regardless of whether it was online or offline. Although we can't go up to level 3, we should be able to help you purchase some items. Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. It's useless. Firstly, you can't send it up even if you buy it. Secondly, the entire level 3 is after me. It's useless no matter how many items you buy. Suddenly, Lin Hai's expression froze. This kid had offended the entire level 3. Chapter 498. Lin Hai had just said that Lu Chen's safety was the most important thing, and now he knew that Lu Chen had offended the entire third heaven. The bad news came too quickly, and it was hard for him to take it all in. It seemed that he could only rely on Lu Chen himself. Lin Hai did not dare to delay Lu Chen from going online, so he got up and left. He still had to report the important information that Lu Chen had given him. He would wait for the decision to be made when the time came. The area of the 10,000 races battlefield was larger than expected. Without riding a mount, Lu Chen and Cowherd took 5 days to cross the 10,000 races battlefield. According to the coordinates, the two of them arrived at the territory of the demon race. The demon race and the demon race only differed by one word, but they were two different races. The demon race's physical body was extremely strong, while the demon race's spiritual power growth was higher. They were not big, about the size of an ordinary person, and they were good at transforming. Simply put, the demon race was more like the legendary beasts on Earth. They were huge and ferocious, but after transforming, they would at most have the face of a beast and the body of a human. On the other hand, the demon race was more like the Chfak spirits in Earth's legends. They could completely transform into the appearance of more than 10 races. Xiao Kuang, the demon race's fortress is in front of us. We have to go through here to reach the treasure location. Cowherd frowned. How are we going to get there? Lu Chen frowned. Should they force their way in? They would be too big of a target, and it would not be good for treasure hunting. It would be best if they could sneak in quietly. Looking at the demon race that entered and exited the fortress, most of them were in human form. He did not know why they were so keen on transforming into humans. There were also some who appeared in their original forms, such as wolves, tigers, leopards, snakes, scorpions, rats, dogs. After observing for a while, Lu Chen realized that the soldiers did not even test the demon race that entered and exited in their original forms and directly let them go. Sigh, I definitely won't be able to get through. Kid, it seems that I can only accompany you until here. You still have hope of getting through alone. It's too much of a burden to bring me along. Cowherd sighed. Actually, doesn't matter if I can't get through or not. I just want to follow you and broaden my horizons. If you need any help, I'll help. I'll see if I can lure some of the sentries away for you. You can take the opportunity to sneak over. Lu Chen frowned and didn't say anything. After a while, he suddenly looked at Cowherd Man. Hey, old man, I can take you there, but you might have to suffer a little. This place is filled with demon soldiers. Even if we try to force our way in, it might be difficult. Don't worry about how I brought you there. Just tell me, do you have any objections? If it's safe, of course I have no objections. Who doesn't want to see what a treasure of heaven and earth looks like? That's good. Lu Chen smirked. You're the one who volunteered, so don't blame me. Devour. Before Cowherd Man could understand what was going on, he saw Lu Chen's mouth open at an astonishing angle, and then in one gulp, swallowed him whole. What the? You? Cowherd Man's words couldn't be heard clearly. Lu Chen's mouth returned to normal. He patted his stomach and said, speaking of which, you're the second person I've swallowed. Old man, stay in my stomach. Lu Chen's stomach started to roll. Cowherd Man didn't seem to want to stay in there obediently. Don't mess around. Lu Chen patted his stomach. Then, Lu Chen opened the monster merchant shop. Speaking of which, Lu Chen hadn't opened the monster merchant shop in a long time. The main reason was that the monster merchant shop seemed to help him evolve and upgrade his army. After coming to the third layer of heaven, Lu Chen hadn't even seen a single monster. The monsters he saw were all players, which made him quite depressed. Now, he finally had a use for the monster merchant shop. Exchange. Lu Chen looked at the skins in the monster merchant shop. Among the monsters he killed, for example, the werewolves, most of them were actually more similar to the demon race. They were all mutated beasts. The only truly normal animals were the poisonous spider and the green python. The poisonous spider was an insect, so it shouldn't be considered a demon race. Only the green python was left. Damn, I can only exchange for this? There's no other choice. Forget it, it's just an outpost anyway. I'll exchange for the green python skin. Lu Chen began to change into the green python skin. His 4 limbs curled up, his 2 legs closed together, his neck became thicker, and his body became narrower. This was the first time he completely turned into a giant python. Lu Chen panicked. Damn, my lower body is gone. Mine is gone. Change into human skin. Quick. Not long after, Lu Chen turned back into human form. He turned around and checked that everything was fine. That scared me to death. Although it's just a body in the game, it still feels weird. After confirming that it was only a temporary separation from his brother, Lu Chen turned into a giant python again. He checked the character panel. Lu Chen had completely turned into a giant green python. It was about 7 to 8 meters long, with a flat head that flicked its tongue from time to time. It should be about time. After confirming that there were no mistakes, Lu Chen swam out of the forest. This giant python twisted its body and used its stomach to walk. Lu Chen twisted his body with all his might. My spine. No, I have to control the rhythm and change the direction regularly. 1, 2, 3, 4, change direction. 2, 2, 3, 4, one more time. The passing demons looked at the strange twisting green python in surprise. That guy's walking is so enchanting. Maybe snakes don't walk properly during mating season. You too, stop looking. Get more military points today. Hurry up and catch up. The sentries looked at Lu Chen swimming past them and smiled. As expected of a member of our demon race. Even walking is so domineering. This brother snake must have gotten a lot of military points. Look at his bulging stomach. Did he swallow some alien? How many military points did brother snake get? Cough cough, 3 or 4. That's not bad. You can get 3 or 4 military points in one trip. Soon, you can become a militia captain. Lu Chen broke out in a cold sweat and swam with all his might. After passing the outpost with great difficulty, Lu Chen found that behind the outpost was a demon race city. Inside the city, there were soldiers patrolling from time to time. Damn it. Lu Chen had a headache and could only continue swimming. In front of him, a group of human couples were quarreling. What's the point of caring about this body? Are you really used to walking with 2 legs? It's still more convenient for us to use our own bodies. But it's too ugly. What's so ugly about it? Do you think 2 legs look good? Look at that brother snake. In my eyes, he's especially handsome. That's because he dares to show himself. Lu Chen passed by with tears in his eyes. Fortunately, only demons could transform into humans. No one had ever heard of humans transforming into demons. Naturally, no one suspected this giant python that walked stiffly. Lu Chen was unimpeded all the way and exited from the other side of the city gate. After exiting the city gate, Lu Chen dived into the dense forest and found a place to change back into his human form. Oh my, I look like me now. Lu Chen panted heavily. Just transforming into a snake is not as good as my original spider form. That was ugly, but I could run and fly. After finding a rock to sit on, Lu Chen opened the treasure map again. The location of the treasure was not far from here. There were no soldiers outside checking, so he could change back into his human form without any problems. Opening his personal map, Lu Chen marked the coordinates of the treasure and continued on his way. The treasure was born in the territory of the demons. They seemed to be very talented in spiritual power. Could this treasure be related to spiritual power? Lu Chen could not figure out what kind of treasure it was. Old man, stay in my stomach first. I'll let you out when we arrive. Chapter 499. In the evening, a newly completed skyscraper in the capital of Huaxia had just finished its listing. Ninefold Heaven-Earth Alliance headquarters. Due to the international status of Huaxia and the fact that Solipsistic was also a citizen of Huaxia, Huaxia became the best choice for the Earth Alliance headquarters. On the top floor of the building, there were about 20 to 30 people in charge of the major member states. Everyone was leveling up during the day, so the meeting was held at this time. The Great Wall of Iron and Blood was a general of Huaxia in reality named Song Junqing. At this time, he had just reported the important information of the third heaven to the meeting members. As soon as he finished, there was a commotion. There was no doubt that the 3 pieces of news brought back by Lu Chen, especially the last one, made these people completely crazy. I can't believe it. If this is true, then the fate of Earth will be completely changed. The representative of the United States could not calm his emotions. He stood up and walked back and forth. Attribute extraction. My God, the fate of mankind will be changed. Technology may no longer be the most productive force. The most primitive is the closest to the essence. The secret of the universe is hidden in our bodies. The third heaven, we must go to the third heaven. It seemed that the influence of the ninefold heaven, which was already unprecedented, would increase again. The Great Wall of Iron and Blood raised his hand and motioned for everyone to quiet down. Everyone, please calm down. I have an important piece of information here. This information is no less important than the information brought back by Mad God. When everyone heard this, they finally quieted down. The Great Wall of Iron and Blood took a deep breath. Jusi, Sengoku Shuangshi, and Dongli. When you were in the first heaven, you should have some impression of these 4 people. At that time, the closed beta players had just appeared and caused a huge uproar around the world. But at that time, There were people stronger than the closed beta players, and that was these 4 people. In the battle with Bone King, the 4 of them summoned Kwafu's soul, but unfortunately, they were still defeated. However, Bone King did not underestimate Kwafu at that time. He said that the Kwafu summoned by Jusi and the others did not have divine power and was not to be feared. In other words, it was not that Kwafu was not strong, but that there seemed to be something wrong. Losers were always forgotten, but when Song Junqing mentioned these 4 IDs again, everyone quickly remembered. Recently, Jusi contacted me and told me an important piece of information. The Great Wall of Iron and Blood swept his gaze across the crowd. After making sure that everyone was listening to him, he said, "They will send people to assist us in entering the 3rd heaven as soon as possible." 2 pieces of heavy news came one after another, and the scene immediately went out of control. A group of people surrounded the Great Wall of Iron and Blood. "Song, can you make it clear that they will help us enter the 3rd heaven as soon as possible?" "Poor they. How can you help us?" The Iron Blood Great Wall shook his head. "James, I'm sorry. Jusi only gave me this piece of information. The Saint Gate didn't say anything else. Oh, by the way, he also said something. His original words were, 'It's a matter of life and death for Earth. It's useless to rely on solipsistic alone. Hurry up and invite him over. We can't hold on much longer.' What do you mean? Are you hiding anything? Are they Earthlings? What does it have to do with the survival of Earth? How many of them are there? How strong are they? Which heaven are they in?" The Great Wall of Iron and Blood felt a headache coming on. He tried his best to answer patiently. "I don't know either. I've already shared all the information I've received with you. Everyone calm down first. This is all the information we've received so far. Listen, we can only analyze and deduce from the information they gave us. As for the questions you asked me, as the chairman of the Earth Alliance, I assure you that I know as much as you do. In the face of an unknown catastrophe, no one dares to bear the consequences of concealing information." Only then did everyone calm down. Song Junqing heaved a sigh of relief, straightened his clothes, and continued, "There are 9 heavens, 1 heaven for each heaven. The news that Mad God brought back said that the races in the 3rd heaven are fighting for hegemony, and humans are on the decline. This seems to indicate that the situation of humans in the higher heavens will be even more difficult. Our strategy department in Huaxia is currently inclined to believe the news that Jusi sent back. Somewhere, the organization that Jusi is in is struggling to hold on and is on the verge of collapse. It's actually not that important whether they are Earthlings or not. What I know is that once they collapse, it will directly affect the safety of Earth in the real world. Therefore, whether it's to explore the attribute extraction of the 3rd heaven, or even the secrets of the higher heavens, or to deal with the unknown catastrophe that may appear on Earth, no matter from which point of view, if Jusi and the others have sent experts to help us increase our strength, we should do our best to level up. This doesn't conflict with each other." The Great Wall of Iron and Blood's analysis was very thorough. Regardless of whether Jusi was telling the truth or not, he had only sent people to help the players on Earth level up. Originally, they wanted to enter the 3rd heaven as soon as possible. Of course, it was best to have someone to assist them. As for the question of Earth's survival, it would have to wait until their strength increased. Everyone, for now, this information should not be disclosed for the time being to avoid causing chaos among the masses. Please emphasize this point when communicating with your country's decision-making bodies later and list this information as highly confidential." Song Junqing continued, "In response to this opportunity or challenge, we now propose a suggestion. We need all countries to reduce their military expenditures and vigorously support Jiotian's top teams. In the name of the Huaxia Alliance, I guarantee that the information I just shared is completely accurate. Please discuss and vote on my suggestion." The meeting finally entered the normal process. During the banquet, the representatives of each country picked up their phones and discussed with their country's parliament and leaders. This matter involved the security of each country and a huge amount of money. Naturally, it was not something that could be resolved today. It was just that these few pieces of important news had also caused an uproar among the higher-ups of each country. They still needed time to digest it, but there was no doubt that in the near future, Earth would usher in some revolutionary changes. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Lu Chen finally arrived at the coordinates. Lu Chen spat out the cowherd in one mouthful. As a special effect skill, the cowherd was fortunately not covered in Lu Chen's saliva. However, his entire face was pale, as if he had experienced some terrifying experience. "Kid, I'm warning you. If you dare to swallow me next time, this old man will fight it out with you." Being swallowed by a grown man for several days, and Lu Chen even had to eat some dry food. Thinking about it, it was not a happy thing. "I asked you before, and you said you were willing." Lu Chen shook his head. "If I didn't use this method, would I have brought you here? This? Who knew that you had such a strange skill? I've never seen it in my life." "Old man, don't be angry. Look, we've already arrived at the coordinates of the treasure." Lu Chen patted the cowherd's shoulder. The cowherd shook his head. He had already swallowed him, and there was nothing he could do. He then turned his head and looked ahead. In front of him was a ruin filled with bones. The bones of unknown creatures were everywhere. Most of them were buried underground, but the exposed parts were not hard to imagine how huge their bodies were. A cold wind raged around them, and the cowherd could be heard. The cowherd could not help but shiver. "Kid, this place is a little strange." Chapter 500. What's so strange about it? Lu Chen asked, puzzled. "Do you know what kind of skeleton these are?" Cowherd looked at Lu Chen. "I don't know." Lu Chen didn't know many races, not to mention that these were all skeletons, making it even harder to identify. "Are they from the ancient dragon clan?" Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. "Yes, to be precise, they aren't a member of the myriad races. Let's put it this way, your mount, the nine-winged celestial dragon, is a branch of the ancient dragon clan. The same goes for the Azure Dragon and the Black Flame Dragon Emperor." Lu Chen frowned. "Branch? In other words, the nine-winged celestial dragon and my two divine beast whelps aren't from the ancient dragon clan in the true sense?" Cowherd continued, "Yes. I saw a passage of text in an instance dungeon that recorded their history. The ancient dragon clan was very powerful, but because they were too arrogant, in their eyes, there were only two forces, themselves and others. Often, one ancient dragon clan member occupied a territory. If others of their kind entered their territory, they wouldn't hesitate to attack them. But even if the ancient dragon clan was so unique, at their peak, they still occupied 90% of the third heaven's territory." Lu Chen was shocked. 90%? That's almost monopolizing the third heaven. The individual strength of the ancient dragon clan was too strong. But why did the third heaven become what it is today? The stone tablet didn't explain it in detail, but it mentioned that at a certain time, almost all the ancient dragon clan in the third heaven disappeared. It was extremely rare to see one, and those ancient dragon clan members who were alone only appeared for a very short period of time before disappearing. Cowherd touched a dragon bone beside him and knocked it hard. "Kid, look, the stone tablet recorded things from thousands of years ago, but the bones exposed to the surface are still so sturdy. You can imagine how terrifying the ancient dragon clan's body was." Lu Chen also knocked on the dragon bone. It was indeed sturdy. "I didn't think that there would be so many ancient dragon skeletons here. Kid, this place is exposed. The people from the Yao race should be able to see it. I wonder if the treasure is still here. Let's hurry up and find it." Reality proved that bringing Cowherd along had its benefits. Cowherd had been in the third heaven for so long, and what he had seen and heard was what Lu Chen lacked. The two of them continued to venture deeper. Along the way, there were huge dragon skeletons everywhere. It was unknown how many ancient dragons were buried here. Not long after, the two of them arrived at a cliff that was 400 to 500 meters wide. On the other side, they could vaguely see dragon bones. "The coordinates are on the opposite shore." Lu Chen said, "This place is too far away. You won't be able to get there with your displacement skills. You'll have to either fly or ride your mount. Mounts can't be used. Your nine-winged celestial dragon can make other mounts submit, but it will also be affected in the ancestral tomb, unable to fly." Lu Chen summoned the nine-winged celestial dragon. That fellow looked at the countless white bones around it and let out a wail. As expected, it was unwilling to fly. Lu Chen patted the nine-winged celestial dragon. Nine-winged is a little sad. Come back. Mounts couldn't fly, so they could only rely on Lu Chen's wings. However, when Lu Chen looked carefully at the sky above the canyon, he frowned again. Upon closer inspection, he could see that the dust particles between the canyon were rushing directly into the sky at an extremely fast speed. The wind is so strong, but I can't feel it at all here? Clearly it didn't make sense. After thinking about it, Lu Chen picked up a fist-sized stone from beside his feet and threw it into the canyon. The stone flew into the air and suddenly shattered into powder in midair. The powder turned into specks of light that quickly rose up until it dissipated into the night. This is? Cowherd's eyes widened as cold sweat broke out all over his body. Jiutian stones could shatter and be ground into powder, but they would never disappear. However, the stone just now had turned into specks of light and dissipated. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It could be some kind of physical attack. With this, Lu Chen didn't dare to fly. The width of the cliff exceeded the teleportation distance of the Triple Gate, and the dragon necropolis had a much stronger pressure than the nine-winged celestial dragon. The canyon constantly released astral energy that could destroy physical bodies. For a moment, Lu Chen and Cowherd stood by the cliff, somewhat at a loss. No wonder the demons couldn't obtain the treasure. There's no way to pass through here, Cowherd said. Lu Chen thought for a moment. Old man, we overlooked something. The treasure map said that the time to obtain the treasure is when the sun and moon alternate. We should wait until the sun and moon alternate. Right, I almost forgot. Then let's wait a little longer. The two were tired, so they found a place to rest by the cliff. Leaning against a dragon bone, Lu Chen pondered over Cowherd's words. The ancient dragon race once ruled the triple heaven. It was only when they were wiped out that the other races rose. What kind of existence was this ancient dragon race that they could crush all the other races? What kind of treasure could lead to the extinction of such a powerful race? Lu Chen looked at Cowherd. Hey, old man, if even the astral energy here is physical damage, do you think the dragon race really went extinct in the real world? Cowherd frowned. I can't say for sure. After all, this is the triple heaven. Even if their physical bodies are destroyed, they might not necessarily die. It's just that no one has seen the ancient dragon race for thousands of years. If they still have people, they should be able to start again. Lu Chen's frown deepened. In other words, this treasure might have caused the destruction of the real world. At this point, Cowherd also felt a chill run down his spine. The danger of this treasure hunt was far beyond their imagination. Kid, are you afraid? Lu Chen smiled. It's okay. After the concept of physical damage appeared in the triple heaven, I seem to have slowly gotten used to it. If you just want to play a game, then just hang around in the double heaven and double heaven. But if you want to get more, then you have to give more. Cowherd nodded. That's right. Once you reach the triple heaven, there's no turning back. Everyone is the same. The two chatted for a long time by the cliff until 4 in the morning. The sky was already slightly bright, and the sun rose and the moon set. Kid, isn't it time? Lu Chen stood up. Let's not rush. Getting hit by the astral energy is no joke. It's safer to try a few more times. Of course, although I'm prepared to die in the triple heaven, I don't want to die so early. The two walked over and carried a large pile of stones, piling them by the cliff. When the sun and the moon were about to change, they threw the stones evenly across the cliff. Let's work together and throw once every 2 or 3 seconds. If a stone passes through, look at the position of the sun and the moon. No problem. However, the moment the stone touched the astral energy, it was destroyed. Until the sun and the moon passed, not a single stone passed through the canyon. How are we going to get through this? No rush, let's try again at night. We have plenty of time anyway. In the evening, the moon rose and the sun set. The two used the stones they had prepared in advance to test, but the stone army was still annihilated. For the next few days, the two continued to test, but the situation was not optimistic. No matter the size of the stone, not a single stone passed through the canyon. On the 3rd day, the two finally gave up. Fuck, we really can't get through. Lu Chen shook his head. This was the first time he was at his wit's end. Chapter 501. The treasure was likely to be on the other side, but there was an impassable gap between them. Anyone would go crazy. Then, Lu Chen and Cowherd walked around in a circle, opening up the map of the surrounding area. Finally, they discovered that the gap wasn't limited to this area. It surrounded the entire area in a tight circle. Kid, what do we do now? Cowherd sat down beside Lu Chen, exhausted. It's impossible to take this treasure. Lu Chen sat there, deep in thought. It's actually a good thing that we can't cross. Lu Chen said, this way, it's impossible for someone to take the treasure by chance. The chances of the treasure still being there are high. And I believe that there must be a way to cross. Saying this, Lu Chen turned around and stood in front of a dragon skeleton. You saw it too. Those ancient dragons crossed. It's just that I haven't found a way to cross yet. Cowherd walked over. But maybe there weren't any astral winds at that time, or maybe they had some special method. It's been too long and we can't compare to them. Lu Chen let out a long breath. I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to give up, even if there's only a sliver of hope. Cowherd was stunned. These days, he had seen Solipsistic's easygoing side. He wasn't much different from the average young man, but sometimes he was playful and mischievous. He had also seen Solipsistic's appearance in battle. As long as he entered battle, it was like he was a completely different person, making others feel fear. But at this moment, Lu Chen's casual reply made Cowherd feel like he had found the reason why this ordinary young man was so powerful. Deep in his bones, there was a personality that refused to admit defeat. When he had already given up hope, that fellow was still bitterly thinking of a solution. Perhaps, this was the difference between them. Cowherd didn't say anything else. If there was a way, this fellow would definitely find it. Lu Chen carefully observed these dragon bones. These dragon bones had been there for thousands of years, but there weren't any traces of weathering. Could it be that the ancient dragons were so powerful that they could cross the astral winds with their bodies? Suddenly, Lu Chen turned around and looked across. There were also dragon bones there. Upon closer inspection, he discovered that the dragon bone on the other side seemed to have many fractures. Old man, look at the dragon bones over there. Many of them are broken, but the dragon bones here are all intact. Cowherd squinted his eyes and looked at him for a long time. Big brother, what's wrong with your eyes? I can't see clearly. The cowherd couldn't see clearly, but Lu Chen was sure that he wasn't mistaken. This dragon bone wouldn't have been eroded by the wind for thousands of years. How could it be so damaged when it's so hard? Was it caused by their infighting? Lu Chen shook his head. Those broken dragon bones aren't broken. Instead, the entire dragon bone is in a state of weathering. This means that the dragon bone must have been damaged in all aspects. There shouldn't be any kind of cultivation method that can damage someone's entire bone like this. But what does this mean? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly as his mind spun rapidly. I've thought of a possibility. Treasures of heaven and earth are nurtured by heaven and earth. When they appear, they will definitely trigger a celestial phenomenon. Perhaps the celestial phenomenon was too intense and attracted the ancient dragon clan, the overlord of the third heaven. When they arrived here, they were blocked by the astral winds and were unable to pass through. Some dragon thought of a method that caused the ancient dragon clan to kill each other here. This would explain why there are dragon bones everywhere. Cowherd frowned. Then what method is it? Lu Chen faintly smiled. His eyes fell on the giant dragon bones beside him. Step over the bones of your companions. These dragon bones are abnormally hard. They might be able to resist the erosion of the astral winds, but in the process of flying, they would still be severely damaged. So, once you reach the other side, these dragon bones would be severely eroded. The more Cowherd heard, the more startled he became. Although this was only a guess, there seemed to be no loopholes in it. I'm too stupid. So the key is that there are dragon bones everywhere. Lu Chen nodded. I didn't think of this at the start. This is only my guess. I still need to test it out first. Little furball. Lu Chen summoned the little fellow. Can you bite through these dragon bones? Seeing so many dragon bones around them, the little furball swallowed its saliva and let out a sigh. Lu Chen couldn't help but chuckle. These are all former overlords. You actually want to eat them? I really wonder if there's anything in this world that you don't want to eat. The little furball didn't grow bigger. It arrived in front of a thick dragon bone and began to gnaw on it. The little furball's teeth could crush an ice skeletal dragon, but after gnawing for over 20 minutes, it only broke one bone. Lu Chen hurriedly carried the bone to the edge of the cliff. He took a deep breath and hurled it forward. The giant dragon bone shuttled through the astral winds and was not instantly eroded into powder. Over 20 seconds later, the dragon bone landed on the other side of the cliff. Ha, it worked. Lu Chen danced with excitement. I'm a fucking genius. Cowherd also felt enlightened. Alright kid, I admit that you really are something. It had been confirmed that dragon bones could pass through the astral winds. As long as they hid directly above the dragon bones, they would be able to pass through. This task fell on Junior Originator. With a deep roar, Xiao Yuan threw Lu Chen, the cowherd, and the dragon bone out with all his might. The dragon bone rushed through the astral winds and went straight to the other side. A moment later, the two of them landed hard on the ground along with the dragon bones. They fell to the ground in a daze. In any case, they finally made it. Lu Chen got up from the ground and looked around. There were still many dragon bones here, but some were incomplete and some were complete. The dragon bones stood tall, majestic, and terrifying. The coordinates were still ahead, but not far ahead. Another astral wind belt appeared. This time, it was Chaos' turn. Then, the third astral wind belt appeared, and the third astral wind belt. There were more than a dozen astral wind belts, and even the surrounding dragon bones were getting fewer and fewer. There weren't many ancient dragons left before they saw the treasure. Judging from the size of the dragon bones, they must have been much larger than other dragons when they were alive. Only the strong could make it to the end. Damn, is this a Matryoshka doll? So many layers. Is this the last one? It's at least 1 kilometer away. Lu Chen's little guys all worked as coolies. Even the 9-winged celestial dragon had been summoned by Lu Chen. Now, Lu Chen only had little hairball left. The treasure should be ahead. The astral wind belt should disappear after we take the treasure. Little hairball, you go this time. Wait. Cowherd stopped Lu Chen. Little hairball is very useful. Maybe there are more astral wind belts ahead. If the astral wind belt doesn't disappear after we take the treasure, you'll need little hairball to help you take the dragon bone when you come back. I'll take you there. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Old man, aren't you coming with me? The treasure should be ahead. Cowherd man smiled. You also said that it's probably. Who can say for sure? I came here to experience the process of treasure hunting. I've already given you the treasure map. Why would I care about the treasure? This? Maybe there's more than one treasure. I don't want any of them. Cowherd smiled. Treasures of this level will only bring me trouble. Kid, don't cry. There might be danger ahead. Come, I'll take you there. Lu Chen nodded and sat on the dragon bone. Hey, you have to get the treasure. Lu Chen nodded. Of course. Good, sit tight. Cowherd gathered his strength. I'll let you eat me. I'll let you feel something special. Go. Chapter 502. This damned old man was very evil. When he came down from the dragon bone, Lu Chen's hairstyle had turned into a slicked-back hairstyle. However, the old man's throw was quite accurate. The dragon bone landed in a small area. Lu Chen observed his surroundings. This place was very flat. Although the ground was covered with weeds and vegetation, when he peeled away the soil, he found that the ground was flat and rocky. A complete dragon bone that was close to 1,000 meters long was lying on the ground. Lu Chen walked over to take a look. This dragon bone was very complete. He could almost imagine what this guy looked like when he was alive just by looking at the bones. Is this the former overlord of the third heaven? Lu Chen sighed. You're the one who walked to the end among your kind? But it seems like you didn't succeed in leaving here. Beside the dragon bone, Lu Chen found a stone tablet. Sky Marshal Stage. If you see this stone tablet, then congratulations on reaching here. You are only one step away from the treasure of heaven and earth. It is indeed here. Lu Qin heaved a sigh of relief. Now, what he needed to do was to wait for the right time for the treasure to appear. In the evening, the sun set and the moon rose. When the sun and the moon alternated, Lu Qin stared at his surroundings. The sky marshal stage suddenly split into two from the middle. A ball of black light rose from the ground. Lu Qin's eyes widened. The black light seemed to be wrapped around something and was slowly rotating in the air. The treasure had appeared. Lu Qin was about to approach. Suddenly, he noticed something behind him. He hurriedly turned around. The ancient dragon skeleton behind him suddenly moved. Immediately after, two red lights lit up in the huge skull's eye sockets. It gradually raised its head. A voice that seemed to come from the abyss of hell sounded. Is someone finally here? Is someone finally here to replace me? After 5,000 years, I can finally be free. Lu Chen's eyes widened. This ancient dragon was resurrected. Not only was it the former overlord of the third heaven, but it was also the strongest among the countless overlords. It was the only ancient dragon that reached the end. The strongest of the strongest. Damn, this guardian is quite strong. Lu Chen took a deep breath and pulled out the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment. Alright, looks like this is going to be a tough battle. God of War Possession. Demon Transformation. Lightless Sky Flame Pillar. Black Coffin Dead Zone. Blood Sacrifice Shield. Flesh. Quickly. Put him to death. Dragon Blood Boiling. Spring Rejuvenation. This was the first time Lu Qin had recovered his HP after activating Deadlands. Although the effect of Deadlands had been activated, the buff had been greatly reduced. However, at least his HP was still healthy. Finally, it was Lu Chen's trump card, Devil's 3 Transformations. Before the battle began, facing the strongest expert from the third heaven domain from 5,000 years ago, Lu Chen went all out. I don't care if you're from the primordial dragon race or not. Today, I'm taking this treasure. In his demon form, Lu Chen's eyes were emitting green smoke, and his voice had become exceptionally low. Mirant, how dare you be arrogant in front of me? I'll tear you apart. Not far away, black smoke was constantly flowing from the black light to the dragon bones. Gradually, its body was filled with black flesh. This dragon was covered in black scales, had 9 claws and 9 wings, and was more than 1,000 meters long. More importantly, this guy was probably equivalent to an ancient dragon race in a physical form. 9 wings is fine, but 9 claws? Lu Chen's nose flared. He had a premonition that this battle would be the most terrifying battle he had ever encountered. Roar! The 9-clawed, 9-winged ancient dragon roared, and the sound shook the world. 1,000 meters away, the wind howled and the trees fell. In the demon race's territory, countless people looked in the direction of the mountains in the north. Did you hear that? What was that sound just now? It sounded like a dragon's roar. We don't have any dragons here. Look at the sky above Dragon Tomb Mountain. Isn't Dragon Tomb Mountain inaccessible? What's going on there? In the demon race's main city closest to Dragon Tomb Mountain, Demon City, a few experts walked to the window and stared at the dark clouds above Dragon Tomb Mountain with narrowed eyes. What's going on? There seems to be a phenomenon there. That dragon's roar just now was not the sound of an ordinary divine beast. I have never heard such an awe-inspiring dragon's roar. Is this the appearance of a treasure or an expert? Let's go and take a look. Countless figures shot towards Dragon Tomb Mountain from all directions. However, at this time, in the center of Dragon Tomb Mountain, Lu Chen was facing the strongest ancient dragon race. That dragon's roar just now had directly dissipated the effect of Lu Chen's war god possession. It seemed that the nameless war god possession was no longer effective in front of this dragon race emperor. Lu Chen opened his mouth and coldly snorted, 7 stars chasing moon. Dragon race forbidden area. With a boom, the entire sky marshal stage was suddenly enveloped in a layer of strange light. And Lu Chen's 7 stars chasing moon was directly ineffective. Lu Chen hurriedly checked his status. Dragon race forbidden area. Enchantment type state. In the forbidden area, Movement techniques below Heaven tier will be ineffective, HP recovery skills will be ineffective, formations below Heaven tier will be ineffective, teleportation skills will be ineffective, reaction time increased by 100%, attack power reduced by 70%, defense power reduced by 70%. At this time, the 9-clawed black dragon had an additional effect. Dragon Race Forbidden Area, unlimited movement within the enchantment, attack power increased by 200%, skill cooldown reduced by 50%. Lu Chen almost went crazy. Although he only had one status, this status included a bunch of negative effects, each of which could make people despair. On the other hand, the 9-clawed black dragon's strength had greatly increased in its enchantment. Enchantment-type cultivation technique was actually so powerful. Under such circumstances, fighting in someone else's enchantment was simply courting death. Kid, thank you for freeing me. As a thank you gift, I will treat you well. While speaking, the 9-clawed black dragon's huge body suddenly disappeared. 9 huge claws tore through space and clawed at Lu Chen's face. There was no skill display, this was a normal attack. Mount Hua Strike. Lu Chen did not have time to dodge, so he could only defend by attacking. 4 dragon claws directly grabbed at the 9 dragon pillars. Lu Chen instantly felt a huge reaction force in his hand. Mount Hua Strike was caught by the 9-clawed black dragon. How is this possible? Before Lu Chen could understand, he had already suffered 5 dragon claw attacks. -2. 7 million, -2. 73 million, -2. 66 million, -2. 49 million, -2. 61 million. After 5 normal attacks, Lu Chen's blood sacrifice shield was directly shattered, and at the same time, he suffered more than 3 million damage. Fortunately, Lu Chen did not underestimate the enemy before and healed himself first. His HP was maintained at 7 million, but now he only had a little more than 3 million left. One must know that this was just a normal attack from the 9-clawed black dragon. Moreover, with just 5 claw attacks, it directly dealt more than 10 million damage. This attack directly sent Lu Chen flying, and he violently vomited blood. Lu Chen finally understood why this guy used a normal attack. This 9-clawed black dragon's normal attack had a knockback effect. This was simply too overpowered. Without waiting for Lu Chen to land, the 9-clawed black dragon roared at Lu Chen. Roar. Dragon roar shakes the earth. The entire Sky Martial stage suddenly cracked, covering the rocks of the Sky Martial stage. All the rocks and vegetation that had accumulated over thousands of years were directly removed, and the entire Sky Martial stage finally revealed its original appearance. Lu Chen, who was sent flying and could not teleport, was heavily injured again. As Lu Chen did not let Xiaomin use a skill to protect her master, 3 million HP was not enough to offset the high continuous damage of Dragon Roar Shakes the Earth. Lu Chen was directly killed. In the distance, Cowherd's eyes widened, and he looked at the battle in disbelief. In a situation where the 9-clawed dragon status was at its peak, this was probably the first time that the kid was beaten to such a state. Not good. That kid is going to die. Cowherd's eyes were red. Chapter 503. The raging fire burned on the ground, and the demon was reborn from the flames. Lu Chen stared at the 9-clawed black dragon. This guy was so strong that it was hard for him to imagine. Infinite displacement combined with a normal attack, followed by Dragon Roar Shakes the Earth. This combo was so simple and violent, but it made him unable to fight back. Nirvana Rebirth? That means you have 3 lives. The 9-clawed black dragon could tell the difference between Nirvana Rebirth and Nirvana Rebirth at a glance. He deduced that Lu Chen had another life besides his current one. Lu Chen took a deep breath. The pressure this guy gave him was unprecedentedly huge. It's been 5,000 years. I didn't expect a level 3 to have fallen to such a state. Are the people here as weak as you? Looks like it's time to clean up, you lowly creatures. Accept your fate. You can't defeat me. As soon as he finished speaking, the 9-clawed black dragon's huge body disappeared instantly and quickly appeared in front of Lu Chen. It was another 9-clawed attack. Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. Death Trap. Dragon Blood Boil. Universe Annihilation, Skyquake. Lu Chen continued to reduce his HP. Although it was undoubtedly very dangerous, Lu Chen knew very well that he might only have 1 or 2 chances to deal with such an enemy. He had to increase his attack and attack speed. Once he could stun that guy, the opportunity would come. Although Lu Chen's reaction speed was slower than usual in the Dragon Clan's Forbidden Land, he had to predict the opponent's position to hit. The moment the 9-clawed Black Dragon's figure disappeared, Lu Chen had already made a prediction and prepared to release the skill without waiting for the 9-clawed Black Dragon. It could be said that Lu Chen's prediction was already quite perfect. However, just as the skill was released, the huge dragon figure suddenly disappeared again. Skyquake was released directly. In my enchantment, you can't even touch me. A voice came from behind. The next second, the 9-clawed attack came again. Is that so? Lu Chen snorted coldly. Don't worry, you are not qualified to stop me. Universe Annihilation, back attack. Cancel the attack from the back and use 3,000 body flickering slashes. Without using shockwave, Lu Chen directly used backstrike and instantly flashed behind the 9-clawed Black Dragon. Backstrike also had a displacement effect, allowing the player to instantly appear behind the enemy. However, it was an offensive skill, so it was not prohibited in the Dragon Clan's Forbidden Area. He can actually change the effect of a displacement assassination. His timing is quite accurate. Unfortunately, it's useless against me. Spatial shift. The 9-clawed Black Dragon disappeared again, and Lu Chen's 3,000 instant slashes lost their target. That guy's reaction was too fast. In Heaven and Earth Annihilation, backstrike, displacement and a single backstrike were seamless. However, to cancel the backstrike and change to 3,000 body flickering slashes, there was a process of ending and releasing the move. Although Lu Chen's connection was perfect, a fraction of a second was more than enough for the 9-clawed Black Dragon. Damn it, it's practically invulnerable. How am I supposed to kill this guy? Lu Chen's mind was spinning rapidly, but his eyes were still fixed on his surroundings. He knew that this guy would not let go of the gap when his skill missed. As expected, the 9-clawed Black Dragon would not let this opportunity go to waste. Its figure flashed and appeared behind Lu Chen. You're not the only one who knows backstrike. Netherworld Golden Ripping Claw. The Netherworld Golden Ripping Claw's level was higher than backstrike. Its movements were so smooth that there was almost no gap. Before the Netherworld Golden Ripping Claw could touch Lu Chen, the debuff on Lu Chen's body was already applied. Deterrence, silence for 0.5 seconds. The silence was not long, but for the Netherworld Golden Ripping Claw, it was enough to capture its prey. The dragon claw directly grabbed Lu Chen's back. This time, his back was directly torn open by the huge dragon claw, leaving a shocking wound. You have suffered physical damage. Current damage level is 38%. Lu Chen did not have much HP to begin with. After being hit by this claw, his HP was instantly depleted, and he died again. Cowherd, who was watching the battle from the other side, took a few steps back and fell to the ground weakly. That primordial Black Dragon is too strong. Kid, it's my fault. I shouldn't have given you the treasure map. It's my fault. At the same time, dozens of shifter elites had gathered at the outermost area of the Dragon Necropolis. The dragon's roar came from the core area of the Dragon Necropolis. However, due to the existence of the Squall Belt, they could not get close. At this moment, someone noticed that there seemed to be something strange nearby. Why are there so many stones here? Has someone been here? Everyone noticed that there were many scattered stones on the edge of the cliff. Someone is using stones to test the Squall Belt. It seemed that many people had done this before. When they saw the stone people, they thought of this possibility. The Dragon Necropolis was in shifter territory. Naturally, there were many people who came to explore such a strange place. However, as time passed, word of mouth within the shifter race spread, and everyone knew that it was impossible to pass through this place. Gradually, no one tried it again. However, these piles of stones suddenly appeared. Something's not right. In order to prevent any abnormalities from occurring in the dragon necropolis, we have explicitly prohibited our people from exploring the dragon necropolis. We only organize titled marshals to try it for one day every year. But now, someone has barged in? Look here. Everyone looked over and saw a shifter titled marshal squatting in front of a dragon bone. He turned around, widened his eyes, and said to everyone in shock, "This dragon bone has been broken." "What? How is that possible?" Everyone quickly surrounded him. Looking at the fracture, it was easy to see that the crack where the dragon bone was broken was unnatural and had just formed. Everyone hurriedly looked at the opposite cliff. Someone really went over. No matter what's in the dragon necropolis, we must not let anyone take it out. Gather people immediately and block off all the cliffs. Last life. Lu Chen's eyelids twitched. He had been killed twice. Although this was not the first time, it was definitely the first time that he could not think of a countermeasure until now. Am I really going to die here? Damn it, the ancient dragon race is so strong. This barrier technique is too overpowered. If it was a normal fight, Lu Chen would not be afraid of the 9-clawed black dragon. The key was that Lu Chen could not break through the dragon race's forbidden area now. At this moment, the black dragon had already flashed over. Lu Chen hurriedly moved. "You want to run? Can your speed compare to my space shift?" Ha! In the next second, the 9-clawed black dragon had already arrived behind Lu Chen. All 9 claws struck. -1. 81 million, -1. 91 million, -1. 83 million, -1. 86 million, -1. 88 million. The 9-clawed black dragon could deal more than 4 million damage with the blood sacrifice shield. However, Lu Chen had defense and damage reduction, so a single attack could deal more than 8 million damage, which was much less. Even so, Lu Chen's health bar continued to bleed. In an instant he lost 3 million HP. On the 6th attack, Xiaomin activated protection. On the 7th attack, Lu Chen activated Buddha's salvation and forcefully left some HP. However, the 8th and 9th attacks had already come. Seeing that it was a matter of life and death, Lu Chen roared, "Furball!" A small white beast sprang out from Lu Chen's palm like lightning. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The furball did not grow bigger. In its normal form, it instantly climbed onto the 9-clawed black dragon's claws. Then, as usual, it bit down. The furball's bite force was enough to break the dragon's bones. With this bite, even the powerful 9-clawed black dragon roared. Lu Chen took the opportunity to move quickly and avoided the last 2 attacks of the 9-clawed black dragon. This time, the 9-clawed black dragon was not in a hurry to chase after Lu Chen. Its dragon eyes widened in anger, then narrowed slightly and looked at the small white dot on its palm. "What is this?" Chapter 504. Compared to the 9-clawed black dragon, the little furball was like a flea on its body. However, other than Lu Chen, there seemed to be nothing that could stop the little furball from eating. It lay in the 9-clawed black dragon's palm and ate greedily. Under the feast, the 9-clawed black dragon's HP actually dropped. Debuff: physical damage, 1 stack. Physical attributes reduced by 0. 7%, mobility reduced by 0. 7%. Debuff: physical vulnerability, 1 stack. Extra 0. 7% damage received when receiving physical attacks. Debuff: bleeding, 1 stack. Loses 0. 1% of maximum HP every second, 99% reduction. Lasts for 7 seconds. For some reason, the 9-clawed black dragon offset 99% of the feast's negative effects. Regardless, it finally started to lose HP minus 280,000. The 2.8 billion HP upper limit made Lu Chen gasp. Not only was this guy super strong, but its HP was also terrifying. Even if this guy was the strongest of the strongest, it could be inferred that the other dragons should not be too far behind. What kind of monsters lived in the 3 heavens of ancient times? Although the feast's effect was offset by 99%, the nature of the negative effects did not change. Soon, the 3 negative effects were stacked to the second stack. minus 560,000. At this time, the nine-clawed black dragon realized that something was wrong. The negative effects did not specify the highest stack, which meant that they could be stacked continuously. Even if the effect was only 0.1%, which was negligible, it was definitely not a good thing to continue stacking like this. Damn bug. The nine-clawed black dragon slammed its claw on the ground, intending to kill the little furball like a mosquito. However, the little furball sensed the danger and quickly crawled to the other side of the dragon's claw. It lowered its head and continued to eat. Swatting a mosquito to death wasn't an easy task. 740,000. Damn it. Divine dragon body. A black light erupted from the nine-clawed black dragon's body. It was as if a black hole suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. Countless demons in the distance also saw the black light and looked at each other in shock. What's that? Not good. There's a change in the dragon's necropolis. There seems to be a battle. Why is the area so big? Is there really a treasure in the dragon's necropolis? Did someone get it? Among the many demons, an ape had an unnatural expression. Fortunately, it was scratching its ears and cheeks, which covered its ecological unnaturalness. If Lu Chen had the time to acquire the vision of the suboriginator, he should be able to see the situation outside the dragon tomb. The suboriginator, who had thrown them over the astral wind belt for the first time, turned into a monkey when it saw a large group of demons coming. Its shape-shifting ability was stronger than Lu Chen's, so it was still safe for now. The Sky Marshal stage. The little furball was sent flying by the black light. The dragon god's hegemonic body should be a skill that forced back close combat units. However, as soon as the little furball landed on the ground, it ran toward the nine-clawed black dragon. Creak, creak, creak. Lu Chen frowned slightly. This guy wants to eat the nine-clawed black dragon? It's a second-stage heaven-devouring rat. The nine-clawed black dragon finally got a good look at the little furball, and a hint of fear appeared in its eyes. Damn it, why is this thing here? Spatial shift. The little furball stood up and sniffed carefully. Before the nine-clawed black dragon showed up, the little furball ran back. The nine-clawed black dragon's voice echoed. Kid, you let it evolve? Are you trying to destroy the entire Jiutian by bringing this monster here? Lu Chen frowned. The nine-clawed black dragon knew the little furball? That was a creature from 5,000 years ago. Didn't the little furball only stay in the herb garden for 300 years? Also, the nine-clawed black dragon was afraid of the little furball? That was something that Su Ping had never expected. Fine, it must be your battle pet. I'll tame it after I kill you. Yes, I'll kill you. Lu Chen was surprised. The dragon was quite clear-headed and didn't panic. He only had 1 HP left, which was the last of his life. He would die for sure if he was attacked again. Not even the little furball could save him. Right then, 9 dragon claws suddenly appeared behind Lu Chen. Go to hell. The little furball turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed toward the dragon's claw. Its body suddenly enlarged and it bit the dragon's claw. The enlarged little furball's bite was even more shocking. The black dragon roared in pain and hurriedly withdrew its attack. Dragon god's dominating body. After knocking the little furball away again, the 9-clawed golden dragon teleported behind the little furball. I'm waiting for you to grow bigger. God binding chains. The huge dragon wrapped around the little furball and trapped it. The dragon rolled and tightened its grip. In the end, the little furball couldn't bear the pressure. It roared and struggled, but it couldn't break free. So what if you're a sky-swallowing rat? Maybe no one will be your match when you grow up, but you're still too small. You dare to provoke me when you're only at the 2nd rank? Only death awaits you. Come on, bite me. Let's see if you have the ability to eat dragon meat. Let's see if you still have the strength to eat. It turned out that the little furball didn't grow in size at the beginning because it wanted to use its small size to fight against the big one. Just now, when Lu Chen was in danger, it grew in size in desperation. In the end, the 9-clawed black dragon seized the opportunity to restrain it. The 9-clawed black dragon's body was very strong. The God-binding chains was a heaven-class high-level control technique. Even if the little furball had completed one transformation, it still couldn't break free. The little furball's mouth started to bleed. Its eyes bulged and its struggle became weaker and weaker. You want to eat my body? Try this, dragon scale strangulation. The 9-clawed black dragon scales stood up like blades. Countless dragon scales pierced into the little furball's body. The little furball was immediately badly mutilated, and blood flowed out from its 7 orifices. Little furball. Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. The little furball reluctantly raised his head and looked at Lu Chen, but his eyes showed a trace of gentleness. Creak, 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 creak. Master, this little furball can only accompany you to this point. Run, creak, creak, creak. I miss Big Sister Green's elixir. Lu Chen's eyes turned green, and the runes all over his body suddenly erupted with a piercing green light. Lu Chen charged toward the 9-clawed black dragon without any regard for anything else. Heaven, earth, 8 desolates. Just you? I told you you can't touch me. Spatial shift. In the face of absolute power, anger was futile. The black dragon teleported, bringing the little furball with it. Lu Chen's Heaven, earth, 8 desolates, which was full of anger, once again lost its target. Squeak. Master, run. I can't hold on any longer, Mo. Lu Chen's mind was in chaos. He searched through all his skills, but in the Dragon Clan's forbidden area, his skills couldn't hit the 9-clawed black dragon at all. What else could he use? What else could he use? No matter what, unintentionally, Lu Chen saw the only foreign object in the area that could be used. That unknown treasure surrounded by black gas. Lu Chen rushed over and reached into the black gas with one hand. As far as his hand could reach, there was a sword hilt. Lu Chen pulled out the sword. Suddenly, the wind and clouds surged, and the sky changed color. The third heaven shook. The 9-clawed black dragon's eyes widened, and even its body, which was wrapped around the little furball, couldn't help but shrink. It looked at the tiny human in horror, its eyes filled with disbelief. Impossible, impossible, even I can't do it. He can't pull out that sword. In an unknown palace in an unknown heavenly region, a white-clothed man slowly raised his teacup. Just as he was about to taste the tea, his hand suddenly paused. He was slightly stunned. The godly demon Limitless Sword has appeared. Chapter 505. Unknown item acquired. Lu Chen's system notification gave a rare notification. The system did not recognize the sword. Lu Chen did not even have time to think about how he managed to pull out the so-called treasure of heaven and earth. He did not even look at the sword before he raised it and stabbed at the black dragon. His speed immediately reached the level of rapid movement. It was as if he was teleporting. In the next second, he was already in front of the 9-clawed black dragon and stabbed at it. Tiger descends the mountain. -1, -1, -1, -1. Lu Chen's mind was in a mess. Was this treasure of heaven and earth not a joke? This bit of damage was not enough to fight a weak gnoll, let alone a 9-clawed black dragon. However, the 9-clawed black dragon's face showed an extremely frightened expression. It did not care about killing the little furball. It abandoned the little furball and quickly retreated. Damn it, how could he pull it out? At this moment, the 3 weapons on Lu Chen's back all flew out by themselves. The strange weapon in his hand was like a black hole, sucking in all 3 weapons. Devouring Devil's Blade, Attribute Fusion. Devouring Reverse Water Scale Sword, Attribute Fusion. Devouring 9 Dragon Pillars of Heavenly Punishment, Attribute Fusion. Devouring Devil Equipment Set, Attribute Fusion. Devouring Dragon Scale Armor, Attribute Fusion. All the equipment on Lu Chen's body was devoured. All the equipment's attributes were fused into this sword. Only the magic treasure pane was spared. Equipment attributes and special effects inheritance complete. Establishing connection with the host. Connection established. Lu Chen's mind raced. It turned out that this sword did not have any attributes in the beginning. In addition, there was no connection with him in the beginning. His own attributes could not be reflected from the weapon. No wonder he only dealt 1 damage to the 9-clawed black dragon. After devouring so many equipment's attributes, This sword finally had its own attributes. Moreover, the connection with him had been established. If he attacked the black dragon now, he should be able to deal damage. As the system did not recognize this weapon, Lu Chen could not see its attributes and special effects. From using it just now, Lu Chen knew at least two things. The sword could change his movement into a form of displacement, and at the same time, it had the ability to devour other equipment. He only had 1 HP, but the black dragon actually ran away when it saw him. This meant that this sword should have some sort of protective ability, and it must be very strong to be able to make the black dragon give up on killing him. In the midst of a life-and-death battle, Lu Chen didn't have time to think too much. Looking at the little furball lying in a pool of blood, Lu Chen was furious. "Black dragon, I will skin you alive today." Great Ravager Sweep. Logically speaking, the titanic Ravager he had obtained in the first heaven should have been useless against the 9-clawed black dragon. However, when he saw Lu Chen attack, the 9-clawed black dragon's face was filled with fear. This indicated that this attack was different. Spatial shift. At the same time, a golden light silently flashed by, so fast that it disappeared in the blink of an eye. The only thing that could prove that Lu Chen had used the titanic Ravager sweep was the air barrier at the edge of the Sky Marshal stage. With a loud bang, a deafening explosion occurred in the northeast direction of the Sky Marshal stage. Within the Sky Marshal stage, it was as if the earth was shaking. Lu Chen's eyes widened. The mana cost of the titanic Ravager sweep had increased by 10 times, but its speed and power had greatly increased. The most important thing was that it had collided with an invisible air barrier. Lu Chen had just entered from the outside. At that time, there was no air barrier, so it was clear that this air barrier was the edge of the Dragon Clan's forbidden area barrier. This weapon can attack the edge of the barrier? Lu Chen immediately reacted. The 9-clawed black dragon didn't dare to take Lu Chen's sword chi head-on, so Lu Chen directly attacked it with the barrier. Infinite space teleportation, right? Titanic Ravager Sweep. Titanic Ravager Sweep. Titanic Ravager Sweep. Infinite Titanic Ravager Sweep. Swish, 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 swish. Golden light flashed continuously, and streaks of golden light crazily split the battlefield, shooting in all directions. The black dragon only dared to use the spatial shift seamlessly. The black dragon dodged, but the barrier couldn't. A large amount of sword chi directly hit the air barrier, and the Sky Marshal stage shook. After about 30 sword chi, the surrounding air suddenly shattered like a mirror, and the barrier collapsed. The debuff on Lu Chen's body had finally disappeared, and Lu Chen's abnormal status had finally been removed. Lu Chen raised his hand to call back the little furball, and put it away for Lu Yi to look after. He stared at the 9-clawed black dragon that was floating in the air. "Maggot, you're already dead," Lu Chen angrily said in a low voice. The black dragon's eyes widened. "Damn it, I actually let you use the limitless demonic god sword. I won't fight with you today. Wait until I find a way to break this barrier, then I'll take your dog life." Looking at the cliff behind it, the 9-clawed black dragon spread its 9 wings and rushed towards the cliff. "With your little HP, if you're not afraid of the astral winds, then just chase after me." 7 stars chasing moon. Who would have thought that Lu Chen would actually chase after it without even thinking about it? The black dragon was shocked. Are these two guys crazy? Especially this human, who only had 1 HP and still dared to chase after it. Looking at the cliff, the 9-clawed black dragon gritted its teeth and rushed in. And Lu Chen also rushed into the astral winds. The astral winds were abnormally sharp, and the 9-clawed black dragon's body was quickly washed away, and its flesh fell off. Roar! The 9-clawed black dragon angrily roared and forced itself to escape. As long as it passed through here and reached the outer layer, it could use the bones of other dragons to pass through. At this time, the 9-clawed black dragon didn't forget to look back at that human brat. That guy wouldn't really rush in, right? At this time, Lu Chen was standing on the limitless demonic god sword and chasing after it. This guy actually used the limitless demonic god sword to block the astral winds. Lu Chen thought very clearly. As a treasure of the dragon necropolis, If it couldn't even pass through the astral winds protecting it, the nine-clawed black dragon definitely wouldn't be so afraid. It was because of this that Lu Chen dared to rush into the astral winds. Fortunately, the black dragon was fast enough. If it wanted to run, that brat might not be able to catch up. At this time, someone on the other side suddenly made a move. A deceleration trap. The nine-clawed black dragon was shocked. Why was there someone here? What was going on? The one who made a move was Sung. He had witnessed the entire battle. Although his mind was filled with question marks, seeing Lu Chen chasing after the black dragon, he naturally made a move when he could. With his strength, it was impossible for him to completely stop the black dragon, but slowing it down a little was good. The nine-clawed black dragon's body slowed down a bit, but it was still safe for the time being. After forcefully breaking through the astral winds, the black dragon's body was seriously injured. There was also a madman behind it who was full of anger, so it didn't have time to find trouble with Sung. With a sweep of its tail, it rolled up a large piece of dragon bone on the ground and embedded it into its abdomen. With the dragon bone, we can pass through the astral winds. Lu Chen chased after it, but that fellow was too fast and had many movement skills. Lu Chen was stunned and couldn't catch up for a while. For a powerhouse like the nine-clawed black dragon, if it really wanted to run, it was indeed difficult to kill. Old man, wait for me here. I'll come back to get you in a bit. Lu Chen flashed over Suowang's head and continued to chase after the black dragon. The black dragon was still running for its life. It had been careless just now and was hit by a lowly human's deceleration skill. This skill lasted for quite a long time. Fortunately, it had a lot of movement skills, so it should be able to escape. After passing through the second astral wind, a red figure suddenly spat out a flame at it. The black dragon hurriedly dodged. At the third astral wind, a white tiger jumped out and pounced on it. At the fourth astral wind, a gilded black tortoise actually wanted to taunt it. Fortunately, it dodged in time, but it was inevitably delayed for a moment while it was dodging. The nine-clawed black dragon almost collapsed. Why were there so many strange things popping up along the way? Were they all that fellow's subordinates? Could it be that this fellow had already predicted that it would run, so he left so many people to stop it? That's impossible. This guy, is he really a prophet? Chapter 506. Lu Chen was not a clairvoyant. Who asked him to have so many people? Lu Chen and the black dragon kept using movement skills, but after 7 or 8 attempts, Lu Chen finally caught up to the black dragon with a triple gate. Triple gate. Mountain-splitting strike. Although the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment had been devoured, the special effect was still there. A big stick struck down on the giant dragon's head. And with the infinite sword of heavenly demons, the speed was more than twice as fast as before. Dragon Gate Leap. The 9-clawed black dragon quickly dodged. But Lu Chen had been holding back and not using the triple gate, waiting for this moment. Under the 3 teleportations of the triple gate, the mountain-splitting strike changed direction 3 times. The black dragon was caught off guard and was hit by the stick. The black dragon was stunned. At this time, Lu Chen finally found a chance to close in. Demon Clone. Demon King's Will, refresh. Demon Clone. More than 30 green demons pounced on the 9-clawed black dragon. A demon's face appeared in front of the black dragon. His eyes were emitting green mist. You died 5,000 years ago. Now you must die again. 3,000 body flicker slash. 11 normal attacks, combined with the 5-hit combo, directly hit 55 normal attacks. Although the black dragon was immune to the poison, as if to make up for it, Lu Chen used a mirror image attack this time. He directly copied the 3,000 body flicker slash. 110 normal attacks. -8. 8 million, double critical hit. -1,433, triple critical hit. -8. 91 million, double critical hit. -1. 99 million, quadruple critical hit. Even the 9-clawed black dragon could not withstand this damage. A 3,000 body flicker slash and a mirror image attack directly took out 1.3 billion of the opponent's HP. The 9-clawed black dragon lost half of its HP. At the same time, the 9-clawed black dragon had a lot of debuffs on it. Stun, silence, speed reduction, mana burn, and there was one more debuff that had never appeared before. Debuff: Return of Heavenly Demons. Physical damage is dealt in proportion to HP. Lu Chen's 3,000 instant slashes took away half of the black dragon's HP. If it was in its normal state, the black dragon would still have half of its HP remaining. However, it was different this time. After the damage to its body, the black dragon's maximum HP was reduced to 1.5 billion. In other words, every time Lu Chen attacked, he would deal nearly 10 million damage to the black dragon. At the same time, the black dragon's maximum HP would decrease by the same ratio, from 2.8 billion to 2.79 billion. From another point of view, Lu Chen's damage was equivalent to doubling. After a wave of attacks, the black dragon only had 200 million HP left. As for the remaining HP, there was nothing to be afraid of. Lu Chen still had so many clones which were enough to kill him in an instant. However, the black dragon also had its own life-saving skills. When the black dragon only had 140 million HP left, a black light burst out from its body. Dragon God's dominating body was forcefully activated. Lu Chen's doppelgangers were all knocked back, and the debuff on the black dragon's body was almost completely removed. Of course, except for Divine Demon Unity, this status seemed to be very high level, and even Dragon God's dominating body could not remove it. I said, "You're already dead." Lu Chen shouted angrily. Universal Annihilation, Total Annihilation. Infinite Triple Door. Lu Chen directly activated the final move of Universal Annihilation and instantly flashed to the top of the black dragon's head. The black dragon had already seen the usage of the triple door. That guy could rely on the triple door to change his position and the direction of his skills. Previously, Hua Shan's split relied on this move to hit him. However, this time, Lu Chen relied on the triple door, which had no cooldown, to change his position infinitely. At this moment, the black dragon knew that he could not avoid it. "I'll take you down with me." 9 Netherworld Golden Splitting Claw. The black dragon did not retreat and counterattacked. 9 dragon claws tore through space and even chased into the triple door. After several triple door teleportations failed to shake off the 9 Serenity's golden splitting claw, Lu Chen's eyes widened in anger. He simply did not dodge and turned into a green shadow in midair, piercing the dragon's head with his sword. At the same time, the 9 Serenity's golden splitting claw behind him grabbed at Lu Chen. With a boom, the black dragon's head exploded. At the same time, a golden light burst out from Lu Chen's body, shattering the 9 Serenity's golden splitting claw. Divine Demon Protection, Stage 1 in a near-death state. When receiving a fatal blow, immune to damage for 10 seconds, remove all negative statuses caused by low-level immortal skills. Increase one's own attack power by 100% and can be transformed into heavenly might attacks. Bloodline talent effects are increased by 100%. Obtain the high-grade heaven-level movement technique Divine Demon Walk, and activate the Divine Demon Unity Barrier. Divine Demon Unity Barrier. Within the barrier, the passage of time is reduced by 50%, the enemy's speed is increased by 50%, all heavenly might attacks are increased by 50%, and damage reduction effects are ignored. This barrier is a mobile barrier, with the caster as the center, affecting a radius of 1,500 meters. Barrier Overlay Principle. When the opponent's barrier type is lower than its time barrier, the opponent's barrier effect is reduced by 10% to 90%. The reduction depends on the level of the opponent's barrier type. If the passage of time was reduced by 50%, then the original 10 seconds of invincibility was equivalent to 15 seconds. If the enemy's time was accelerated by 50%, it meant that the 0.5-second duration of rapid movement was reduced by half, which was 0.25 seconds, and the movement distance was reduced by half. Some skills that needed to be charged, if it originally needed 10 seconds to charge, after the passage of time was accelerated, it would take 15 seconds to charge. Lu Chen looked at the effects on his body in shock, his eyes full of shock. The effect of a time barrier. He finally knew what the black dragon was afraid of. It was afraid of the divine demon protection and the divine demon unity barrier. The Dragon Clan's Forbidden Land made Lu Chen understand how perverted barrier-type techniques were. Fighting in other people's barriers would definitely increase the difficulty by several times. As a time barrier, the divine demon unity barrier's level was definitely very high. It could reduce the effects of the Dragon Clan's Forbidden Land, greatly reducing the effects of the Dragon Clan's Forbidden Land. Lu Chen was invincible for 15 seconds with the God and Demon Limitless Sword in hand. He also had the God and Demon Walk, and his attacks could be transformed into Heaven's Wrath. Even though Lu Chen only had 1 HP, he could still run and attack in the last 15 seconds. Black Dragon had no chance of winning. Therefore, when the Black Dragon saw Lu Chen pull out the Divine Demon Limitless Sword, he turned and ran. However, the Black Dragon did not expect that he would not die to the Divine Demon Protection and the Divine Demon Unity Barrier, but to Lu Chen's universal annihilation. Finally, Lu Chen took a deep breath. The damage to his body still made him feel exhausted. I'll have to trouble Little Green again this time. At this moment, the system sent a notification. Devouring the 9-clawed Black Dragon's corpse, an unknown weapon is repairing your body. Current progress. 10%, 20%, N? Lu Chen blinked his eyes. Did he have another foodie? No, save the little furball first. Lu Chen had a flash of inspiration and summoned the little furball. I heard the Black Dragon say that you're called the Divine Demon Limitless Sword. Can you repair the little furball's body? A voice sounded. This little guy is too strong. I can't repair it, but heaven-devouring rat doesn't need to be saved. Just give it something to eat. Lu Chen was surprised and happy. What surprised him was that the sword could actually speak. Could it be the legendary weapon spirit? Happy that the little furball was so strong? Not only was it strong, but it also seemed to be easy to raise. Chapter 507. Did you see that? Is that the legendary 9-winged, 9-clawed Black Dragon? The 9-clawed Black Dragon's body was huge. As it fled, it entered the line of sight of the demons. The demons witnessed the fall of the Black Dragon with their own eyes, but they couldn't see who killed it. 9-clawed and 9-winged, it can't be wrong. It's an ancient dragon. But this one seems to be especially big. According to the stone tablet, an 800-meter 9-winged, 9-clawed ancient dragon is already a powerful overlord. This one is more than 1,000 meters long. 9-winged, 9-clawed ancient dragons are buried in the dragon necropolis, but they have long gone extinct. Why is there a living one here? The ancient dragon is resurrected. Is there really a treasure in the dragon necropolis? The dozens of demon experts narrowed their eyes. According to the stone tablet, the ancient dragon once ruled over 90% of the territory in the third heaven. One could imagine how powerful they were. It was said that the ancient dragon had an extremely powerful enchantment technique. In a one-on-one fight, they were almost invincible. Who could kill such a huge 9-winged, 9-clawed ancient dragon? Lu Chen finally had a chance to see the weapon in his hand. This sword was a little strange. The blade and hilt were half black and half white. There were shallow carvings on the blade, and there were 5 words on the hilt. Celestial Demon Limitless Sword. Hey, were you the one talking just now? Of course it was me. Is there anyone else here? The voice sounded again. So, you're the sword spirit? You're also the one who swallowed all my equipment? I'm the weapon spirit. If I didn't swallow your equipment, would you be able to defeat the Black Dragon? Besides, there's no loss in swallowing you. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Now, he was only left with clothes and treasures. All his belongings were this sword. Why doesn't the system recognize you? Lu Chen asked again. System? Oh, you mean the novice instructor program. Little friend, it's nothing. How can it recognize me? It can only detect some of my current actions. The artifact spirit's tone was not small. However, Lu Chen quite liked it. This sword might be on the same level as Furball. Oh, that's right. The 9-clawed Black Dragon, said that ordinary people would not be able to pull you out. However, when I pulled out the sword, it did not take any effort at all. You have the body of a god and a demon. You're a great variable in Jiutian, and you happen to be compatible with my element. That's the first requirement. Secondly, you were able to pass through the 18th level of the astral wind belt. Your intelligence and strength are not bad. Most importantly, we're going the same way. On the way? Yes. A puny human actually dares to challenge the emperor of the 9-clawed black dragons. You must want to go to a higher realm, and I also hope that someone can bring me to break through the shackles of the 9 heavens. Lu Chen nodded. It turned out that in order to obtain the recognition of the limitless Fiend God Sword's artifact spirit, there were still so many conditions that needed to be fulfilled. After gaining a general understanding of the limitless Demon God Sword, Lu Chen stepped on the sword and went back to pick up the cowherd and the group of little fellows. After passing through a few astral wind belts, Lu Chen saw the demon army outside the dragon tomb. Kid, why are there so many demons outside? They are waiting for us. The cowherd immediately became nervous. Lu Chen looked at the densely packed demon army and said in a deep voice, Junior Originator is with them. Let's go after picking up Junior Originator. This is the territory of the demon race, and we can't fight here for too long. Old man, it's not convenient for me to escape with you. How about, no way? Again. The cowherd immediately understood what Lu Chen meant. That guy was going to use that trick again. Although it was not a glorious thing to be swallowed by this brat, the cowherd had no other choice at this moment. I really have to hand it to you. That little furball eats all day and night. Even your sword can swallow it, and even you. Okay, there's no other way now. Hurry up, don't digest me, don't worry. This is just a special effect. It can't be digested. Lu Chen chuckled, opened his mouth, and swallowed the cowherd. After taking care of the cowherd and the other godly beasts, only Junior Originator was left. Lu Chen quickly obtained Junior Originator's vision. After locating Junior Originator, he used the infinite Fiend God Sword to rush out of the last hurricane belt. Triple Gate. A stone gate appeared in front of Junior Originator. Junior Originator jumped into the stone gate and teleported to Lu Chen's side. Putting away Junior Originator, Lu Chen was about to slip away when he was stopped by several demons. How dare you come to the territory of the demon race to hunt for treasures? Did you kill the 9-winged and 9-clawed ancient dragon just now? Lu Chen smiled and said, Yes, it was me. What's wrong? As for who I am, forget it, I'm too lazy to pretend. I'm a human. A human? Don't you know this is the territory of the demon race? How dare you come to the territory of the demon race? Don't you know where you are? Lu Chen snorted and said, Is the triple heaven owned by your family? Who was the one who divided this territory? Treasures have always belonged to the capable. You've been here for so long. You can't get the treasures, but you don't allow others to? I'm not afraid to tell you that I didn't come to the triple heaven before. Now that I'm here, the territory of the triple heaven is invalid. The demons were shocked. What arrogance! A mere human dares to challenge the order of the third heaven. Who do you think you are? Even if you killed the 9-winged and 9-clawed bone dragon, it doesn't mean you can be the enemy of the entire demon race. Ha, what a joke. The weakest human being actually said the most arrogant words. Let me see which clan of the 5 major forces of the human race's juniors are so narrow-minded. Lu Chen looked at those demons indifferently and said, You want to know who I am? Isn't that simple? After that, Lu Chen showed his ID. 4 golden words appeared in front of everyone. Solipsistic. Suddenly, the crowd was in an uproar. Solipsistic? He's the wanted human. So it's him. No wonder he's so bold. It's really him? Then didn't he get the Heaven Punishment Tower and the Dragon Necropolis? He must have a lot of treasures on him. Kill him and gain both fame and fortune. Lu Chen looked at the crowd and snorted, You want to kill me and steal my treasures? Unfortunately, I don't have time today. Otherwise, I'd like to see what you demons are capable of. Triple Gate. The demon race experts from other regions had already rushed over. Seeing that Lu Chen was about to run, they all attacked. This guy has 2 treasures on him. We can't let him run away. Is the 1,000 Demons array set up? It's already set up. Everyone, this person stole our demon race's treasures. However, his strength is not to be underestimated and he has powerful treasures. We'll use the 1,000 Demons array to suppress him for now and wait for Marshal Tianming's support. Everyone, please activate the 1,000 Demons array. It's my duty. Suddenly, all the demons released their spiritual energy at the same time. A spiritual web appeared in front of Lu Chen and covered the entire dragon necropolis. Lu Chen's triple gate failed and crashed into the spiritual web. Damn, this array is so strong. Lu Chen hurriedly retreated. The 1,000 Demons array covered a wide area. Lu Chen had never seen such a huge array. The array did not cause any damage. Lu Chen tried to use Obelisk to attack, but the spiritual web absorbed the attack instantly. Although the demons on the other side all lost a little blood, it seemed like the 1,000 Demons array reduced his damage and distributed it to all the demons. Kid, when our Marshal Tianming comes, you'll die even if you have treasures on you. Just wait for your death. Chapter 508. No matter how high Lu Chen's damage was, if he were to distribute it evenly, each demon would not get much. This amount of damage was negligible. The demons had been watching the battle and had plenty of time to set up the formation. This was not surprising. What Lu Chen did not expect was that the demons were much more united than the humans. With a single command from a powerful demon, hundreds of thousands of demons would work together to protect the 10,000 Demons formation. Fortunately, this formation covered such a large area. Naturally, it had its weaknesses. The 10,000 Demons formation could only trap the enemy, but it could not attack. Lu Chen frowned as his mind raced. Since he could not leave for now, he would not leave. He would wait for the heavenly fate marshal to come and think of a way. Thinking of this, Lu Chen did not charge into the formation. Instead, he turned around and rushed through a few bands of astral winds to avoid the attack. He spat out Suowing again and briefly explained the situation. The 10,000 Demons formation is a high-level formation that requires many demons to work together. It is almost impossible to charge out, Suowing said seriously. Kid, what do we do now? Lu Chen did not panic at all. You already said that we can't leave. What else can we do? Let's rest first. I just fought with the Black Dragon. I'm actually quite tired. Suowing was speechless. You are too calm. The heavenly fate marshal of the demons is even stronger than Dongfang Ji. No matter how strong he is, can he be stronger than the 9-clawed Black Dragon? More importantly, there must be more than one of them. Lu Chen shook his head. I know. I'm too lazy to fight. But tell me, do we have any other way out? Suowing frowned. After thinking for a long time, he said, with our strength, we can't leave the 10,000 Demons formation. That's right. Lu Chen continued to lean on the dragon bone. I hope the heavenly fate marshal of the demons will come soon. Not soon. Suowing suddenly said, the demons are able to establish themselves in the third heaven. Other than their talent, the most important thing is the centralization of resources. What do you mean? They will use the most precious resources of the entire race to nurture the strongest with the most potential. All the heavenly fate marshals are the pillars of the Yao race. They use a lot of resources. Cowherd's understanding of the myriad races was not something Lu Chen could compare to. Of course, after using so many resources, those experts also need to work hard. They are in closed-door cultivation almost every day, so it is difficult for them to come out. Lu Chen frowned. How long do we have to wait? It won't take a year or so, right? Not even a year. I estimate that it will take 2 to 3 months for them to come out of seclusion and rush here from the Demon Clan's base camp. Lu Chen was dumbfounded. He wasn't afraid of the 10,000 races formation and he had the ability to fight Marshal Tianming. However, being trapped for 2 to 3 months was just too disgusting. How unlucky. These guys must have been attracted by the Black Dragon. That Black Dragon, even if he dies, he still wants to harm me. Lu Chen had already experienced the 10,000 Demons formation's dynamic defense ability. There was no need for him to waste any more energy. Fortunately, the 10,000 Demons formation was a semi-solid defense formation. Lu Chen couldn't leave, and others couldn't enter. The dragon necropolis was very safe. After resting for 2 to 3 days, Lu Chen was really bored out of his mind. He began to wander around the cliffs separated by the astral winds. "Kid, what are you doing?" Cowherd asked curiously. "Old man, what do you think is in the canyon below the astral winds?" Lu Chen explained further. "I originally thought that the astral winds would disappear once I got the treasure, but it turned out that the astral winds didn't disappear. Why would there be astral winds that can destroy the body from the canyon? Don't you think it's strange?" "It is a little strange, but the treasure map only shows one treasure," Lu Chen continued. "That's true, but not all treasures have a treasure map. Besides, even if there are monsters down there, I'm going crazy from being bored here." "Kid, don't tell me you're thinking of going down. It's too dangerous." Lu Chen smiled. "I was just thinking of going down to take a look. I have the godly demon limitless sword, so it's not too dangerous. If I encounter something, I can at least escape. Old man, I won't bring you down this time. I'll go down alone in the afternoon. If there's no problem, I'll come up and pick you up." The days of being trapped were particularly relaxing. At noon, Lu Chen went offline to accompany Lu Yi to a restaurant, shop, and even take an afternoon nap. After recovering, Lu Chen adjusted his condition and took out the godly demon limitless sword. "Hey kid, wait a minute." Cowherd called out to Lu Chen and pushed a trade window over. "Old man, what are you doing? Let the limitless sword swallow these items. I have no use for them. They'll end up in your stomach anyway." Soon, Cowherd was left with only his underwear left. "Old man, this isn't good." "What's not good about it?" "The limitless sword's biggest advantage is that it can swallow equipment and inherit attributes. My equipment, other than the fact that I don't have any immortal equipment, is not worse than yours. It can add quite a lot of attributes." "Oh, I still have a few items in my bag. They're not for my class. I originally wanted to leave them for the youngsters on my planet. Now I'll give them to you." Even the greedy Lu Chen felt a little embarrassed. "Don't be so wishy-washy. You'll be responsible for helping me in the future." Lu Chen smiled. What he said was true. To Lu Chen, these dazzling items, as long as he knew where they were dropped, wouldn't take long to farm them. "Old man, don't be naked. This set is for you." Lu Chen traded the Lord of the Night set to Cowherd. "I don't need it. This is good. It's cool." "You're cool, but it's not elegant. I'll give this to you. I still have 2 sets. Don't you only have 1 red set?" "I still have one, but it's a couple set. I'll wear it when I find a partner." Cowherd's eyes widened. Couple set? He had never heard of such a thing. On Cowherd's ship, the Lord of the Night set was quite energetic. On the other hand, Lu Chen was busy devouring the pile of equipment that Cowherd gave him. Devouring Beast Taming Set, Devouring God King Shoulder Pads, Devouring Giant Crocodile Leather Boots, Devouring Beast Heart Leg Guards, Inherited Attributes and Special Effects. At the current level of Devouring, the maximum number of equipment special effects that can be inherited is 30. You have exceeded the limit. The extra special effects will be retained, but cannot be activated or changed. They can only be activated after the level of Devouring increases. 30 special effects already? Lu Chen didn't expect that he would have so many special effects in such a short time. Cowherd was a beast taming master. Many of his equipment's special effects added beast taming. In fact, Lu Chen could use them as well. After all, he had many battle pets. "It's a bit hard to choose. Old man, your special effects are quite good. This one increases the battle pet's maximum health, and this one strengthens the battle pet's attack power. They're so strong." Cowherd was looking at his new appearance and was quite satisfied. Of course. After being in the game for so long, it's fine if I don't have any celestial equipment. If my dazzling gold can't compare to others, then I'll have wasted my time. I've carefully selected all of my equipment. You can take your time to choose. I'll take a screenshot and save it. Lu Chen could only keep his head down and choose the special effects. After looking at it for a long time, he kept 7 or 8 good passive effects. Hurry up and feed the unbounded sword more. Let it increase its devouring level. Otherwise, it'll be harder to choose when it eats more equipment in the future. After a while, Lu Chen was finally ready. Standing beside the cliff, Lu Chen took a deep breath. "Old man, I'm going down." Chapter 509. The abyss was deeper than Lu Chen had imagined. Halfway up the mountain, Lu Chen realized that the astral winds were getting stronger. "Limitless, can you block it? This little breeze is nothing. Stand firm." The black mist from the limitless sword enveloped Lu Chen, preventing him from being affected by the astral winds. Not long after, Lu Chen reached the bottom of the valley. Perhaps it was because of the astral winds, there was no vegetation at the bottom of the valley. The soil on the surface of the rock layer was blown away, revealing only the grayish-black rock veins. There was a huge crack in the ground, and the astral winds were blowing out from it, rushing straight to the sky. Because the air was erupting upwards, Lu Chen was safe at the bottom of the valley. "It's still safe here. You can't go into the crack. My current stage is still too low, so I can't guarantee your safety," the limitless sword spirit said. Lu Chen came down to check the source of the astral winds, but it turned out to be underground. Without the protection of the limitless sword, he would not dare to go down. But since he came down, Lu Chen checked the surroundings. "There's nothing here." After checking carefully, Lu Chen did not find anything unusual. Instead, he found a tunnel that led to the internal testing area. It seems to lead to another astral wind belt. "Alright, since I'm down, I'll take a look." The bottom of the valley was connected. Lu Chen checked it one by one. "There's nothing here?" Lu Chen was a little disappointed. In front of him was the last valley near the Sky Marshal stage. He felt that there would not be anything special. "Limitless, do you know what's down there? It's caused by the celestial phenomenon when I descended. As for what it is and how it was formed, I'm not sure." "Alright, since I'm here, I might as well check carefully." Lu Chen put away the limitless sword, shook his head, and continued walking. Originally, Lu Chen did not have much hope. But when he came out of the tunnel and saw the scene in front of him, Lu Chen was stunned. In the last canyon of the astral wind belt, a person was standing not far away. The man's clothes were ragged and his hair was disheveled. He sat cross-legged beside the stone wall, almost becoming one with it. If it weren't for Lu Chen's amazing eyesight, he wouldn't have noticed that there was someone sitting there. Even the ancient dragon clan would not be able to come to such a place. There was actually someone here? There were two possibilities. One was an expert trapped here, and the other was an NPC. Of course, Lu Chen already knew that NPCs were actually just higher-level players. They were just NPCs traveling in the lower heavens. No matter what the situation was, Lu Chen had to be cautious. He walked over cautiously, keeping a certain distance and being vigilant at all times. "Who are you? Why are you here?" The man opened his eyes slightly, revealing a pair of shocked eyes under his white hair. Someone actually came down, and it's a human? Someone was coming down. Someone finally came down. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. It was indeed a living person, but he didn't seem to be in his right mind. "Who are you?" Lu Chen asked again. Someone finally came. The man seemed to have lost control of his emotions. He didn't hear Lu Chen's question at all and muttered to himself, "When I was drawing the NPC mission, I won the super grand prize. They all said that I was too lucky to be able to issue the strongest mission in the third heaven. I thought that my luck would change from an unknown passerby to a proud son of heaven. But who knew that after waiting for so long, not a single person came to accept the mission? I thought that I would have to wait for someone to change shifts, but no one won the grand prize. I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting." Lu Chen frowned as he listened to the guy muttering to himself. "Big brother, are you an NPC? Little brother, I've finally waited for you. You must accept my mission." Unlike other NPCs who hid their identities, this guy couldn't wait for Lu Chen to accept the mission. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. This guy was indeed an NPC, but he seemed to be unlucky to be tricked into issuing the mission in a place where no one could come. Those who came to the lower realm to be NPCs probably had good and bad jobs. For example, the job of the gatekeeper of the Shuraba. In a high-difficulty world, the business must be very good. The one in District 19 was more unlucky. He waited for a long time and no one came, so he was very enthusiastic when he saw Lin Huang. But compared to the one in front of him, the one in District 19 was definitely lucky. This one was so down and out that he was almost crazy. He was probably the most miserable NPC in the lower realm. However, Lu Chen wasn't qualified to care about the NPC's experience. He only cared about the mission now. Big brother, what mission do you have? If it's suitable, I'll accept it. My mission is a little difficult, but you have to know that the risk and the reward are proportional. I know. Let me see your mission first. Activate the legendary level hidden mission treasure of heaven and earth. Thousands of years ago, the spiritual chi of all things in the world gave birth to a treasure. When it was born, it caused a phenomenon in the world and attracted countless experts to fight for it. However, no one could obtain this treasure. Mission objective: obtain the treasure on the Sky Marshal platform. Mission reward: 30 immortal spirit pills, 1 immortal spirit pill formula. Lu Chen looked at the mission and fell into deep thought. This reward was definitely the best in history. 1 immortal spirit pill permanently added 1,000 spiritual energy. Even the golden chest in the Lesser Genesis layer only had 10 of them. The others were all immortal spirit pills that added 3 dimensions. They were not on the same level as immortal spirit pills. But this time, the mission reward was 30 immortal spirit pills. Not only that, but there was also a immortal spirit pill formula. This thing was amazing. Lu Chen didn't know how to refine pills, but he had Little Green. As long as Little Green's level increased, he could get more materials and let her refine them slowly. 1 formula meant countless immortal spirit pills. Seeing that Lu Chen didn't speak, the NPC looked at Lu Chen anxiously. Brother, I know this mission is very difficult. Sai, to be honest, if it was so easy, why would I wait here for so long? Lu Chen looked up and looked at the NPC strangely. But little brother, you can't catch a tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. That's a treasure of heaven and earth. If it weren't for the fact that people from the upper heaven can't come down to fight for it, I'm afraid people from the upper heaven would go crazy and come down to the lower realm. Cherish this opportunity. I see that you can enter the astral wind belt. That means you can get close to the treasure. This is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you. Don't give up. Lu Chen's frown deepened. Can I accept this mission? The NPC thought that this kid felt that the mission was too difficult and didn't want to accept it. He wanted to say something, but after thinking about it, he shook his head. Sai, maybe I'm too impatient. How can a treasure of heaven and earth not be guarded by a powerful creature? Even if you pass through the astral wind belt, you might not be able to get the treasure. You might even lose your life. As an NPC, I have to remind you of this. The astral wind belt has already damaged your physical body. The treasure of heaven and earth must be even more dangerous. It's a rational choice for you to not accept it. You still have to consider it carefully. This NPC was actually quite righteous. He was already in such a miserable state, but he still remembered to remind Lu Chen to think carefully. Brother, you're right. The risk and reward are proportional. You've been unlucky for so long. It's time for your luck to change. After saying that, Lu Chen looked at the NPC with a smile. Then, Lu Chen clicked accept. Chapter 510. Young man, did you accept it? Lu Chen checked the mission carefully. The mission was already indexed to submit status. Lu Chen was only confirming that there was no requirement to hand over the treasure to the NPC. After confirming that the mission only required him to seize the treasure and not take it back, Lu Chen chose to submit the mission. The NPC was shocked. What did you do? Submit the mission? Lu Chen looked at the NPC. Brother, you didn't eat my elixir, did you? Of course not, that's not what I'm talking about. How could you? You've already gotten the treasure? How can I submit the mission if I don't get it? Lu Chen shook his head. For some missions, there were indeed situations where one could submit the mission directly after obtaining the mission item. I didn't expect there to be a mission here. Fortunately, I came down for a walk. Otherwise, it would be a huge loss. 30,000 points of spiritual energy and a celestial elixir formula. Without this reward, it would be a huge loss. Then, Can you let me see the treasure? Lu Chen thought for a moment and moved his fingers. A black and white sword hung beside him. Do you want to inspect the goods? The NPC stared at the godly demon infinite sword with wide eyes. Half god, half demon, heaven and earth will not tolerate it. There's no need to inspect the goods. The Jiotian can't make such equipment. Lu Chen was stunned. Half god, half demon, heaven and earth will not tolerate it? It seemed that the infinite sword was not the only one who was half god. Wasn't he one too? Young man, that's great. I really don't know what to say. Oh yes, this is your reward. Obtained Soul Ancestor Elixir X30. Obtained Celestial Elixir Formula. Haha, awesome. Lu Chen was in a good mood after receiving a reward out of the blue. The NPC heaved a long sigh of relief. Even Lu Chen could feel his relief. The NPC looked up at the sky and closed his eyes slightly. After such a long wait, I've imagined countless scenarios of completing the mission. But I never dreamed that it would end like this. I'm finally free. All right, kid, my mission is complete. If there's a chance, I hope to see you again. I'm leaving now. Brother, wait a minute. Lu Chen suddenly stopped the NPC. There's a myriad tribes formation outside. Can you get out? Myriad tribes formation? That's right. When I was fighting for the treasure, I was fighting with a resurrected 9-clawed black dragon, which alarmed the surrounding demons. They set up the myriad demons formation outside, so I came down here to take a look. It was also because of this that I met you. Ah, kid, perhaps this is fate. Fine, you've already obtained the treasure and completed the mission. Even if I bring you out, it won't be considered as helping you complete the mission. I'll just bring you along for a while. That's great. Oh, by the way, I have a friend up there. All right, I'll go with you. Cowherd was still admiring the new clothes that Lu Chen had given him. It's so cool. And this was worn by Mad God. We've struck it rich. Just as he was talking, 2 figures shot out from the bottom of the valley and landed in front of him. Cowherd looked at Lu Chen and the unkempt guy behind him in confusion. Kid, why you caught a barbarian? Not a barbarian. This brother is an NPC. I've completed his mission, and now he's leaving this place. He can bring us along. There's a myriad demons formation outside. The NPC seemed to have found a trace of the feeling he had in the past. He had completed his mission, and now his heart was filled with pride. He coldly snorted. A mere myriad demons formation can't trap me. Let's go, I'll bring you out. Kid, where did you say you were going? The human territory. All right, give me the coordinates. I'll bring you there directly. Lu Chen gave the NPC a rough set of coordinates. The NPC glanced at it and grabbed Lu Chen and Cowherd with both hands. In the blink of an eye, they were thousands of miles away. The map was teleporting. Lu Chen was very sure that this brother came from a higher region. Not far ahead was a human city. The NPC glanced at it from afar and suddenly let out a long sigh. Humans, it was just 2 words, but it seemed to contain countless sentiments and concerns. Things remained the same, but people had changed. Kid, get stronger quickly. This is not your battlefield. Your battlefield is in a higher region. I should go too. I hope to see you again. With that, the person disappeared in the blink of an eye. Cowherd looked at Lu Chen in shock. Hey, how did you convince him to bring us out? I didn't really convince him. He felt that we were fated to meet. This is good too. I don't have to fight the Marshal Tianming of the shifters. Those shifters will be so depressed when the Marshal Tianming comes and finds out that we're gone. Cowherd laughed. Lu Chen smiled and walked into the human city with Cowherd. This city was called Maple Leaf City. It was considered a second-tier city in the human territory. It occupied a large area, twice the size of the City of Exiles. Old man, what does a second-tier city mean? A second-tier city is a city with a 2-star organization. Because the 2-star organizations are strong, the development of the city is very good. Look here, it's even bigger than the City of Exiles. The trading area is full of people. Cowherd hadn't been out for a long time. He looked around when he saw the endless stream of people. Is the currency here gold coins or military merit points? Both. The most important resource is still military merit points, but you can also buy a lot of things with gold coins. Alright kid, go take a look at the trading area. There might be equipment for sale. Lu Chen nodded. He wanted to buy equipment, but he also needed to buy a lot of herbs. Lu Yi refined pills to increase her alchemy level. The pills she refined were given to Furball to heal its injuries and help it grow. However, there was another problem. Lu Chen hadn't leveled up in a long time. He had been in the 3rd layer of heaven for so long and had encountered thousands of races. Where could he find a place to level up, get equipment, or get orange monster cores? Old man, is there no place to level up in the human territory? Where did you get your equipment? Of course there is. Speaking of which, a 2nd-tier city would usually be close to a leveling area. However, there are too many wolves and not enough meat. The competition is usually very fierce. Lu Chen nodded. As long as there was such a place, it was fine. Then it seems that we'll have to stay here for a while. There's no hurry to go to the trading area. Let's find a place to stay and then take a look at the leveling area. I won't buy anything that can be obtained. Lu Chen decided on a plan based on his stingy habits. There was an inn in the city. Lu Chen and Cowherd booked 2 rooms and paid a month's rent in advance. The two then headed to the leveling area. When they arrived at the leveling area, Lu Chen felt as if he had returned to the beginner's village. Xianyuan Instance Dungeon Team, missing 1 member. Titled Marshal will lead the team. There are 7 more teams before it's our turn. Immortal Marshal Beast Tamer Marshal or Puppet Master Marshal. Clear Mirror Lake Instance Dungeon, position 25. 3 military merit points. 20-man team, enter the chaotic plains. Only experts, marshal and above. The human territory was small. If there was a leveling area, it would already be overcrowded. Lu Chen looked at Cowherd and smiled. Hee hee, I can finally level up. Old man, let's go. I'll take you to get some equipment. Chapter 511. The rule of Maple City was that one had to line up to farm. Teams were all waiting to enter the farming area. Lu Chen roughly understood the few farming areas. There were 3 team dungeons nearby, Xianyuan, Mirror Lake, and Den of Evil. Among them, Xianyuan was the most difficult. There was a very low chance of 3 immortal weapons dropping. If it was before, Lu Chen wouldn't care about the Xianyuan immortal weapon stats. However, Lu Chen was using the infinite sword of the Celestial and Demon. As long as there was new equipment, he could devour it. Lu Chen naturally had to farm it. Mirror Lake and Den of Evil dropped a few dazzling gold items, so he had to farm them all. In addition to the dungeons, there was also the chaotic plains, where one could farm all kinds of wild monsters to level up. The wild bosses would drop equipment and orange-colored beast cores, which could be used for the growth of the divine beasts. The 3 dungeons were calculated according to time. One could farm for 1.5 hours. Regardless of whether one finished or not, they had to leave when the time was up. The chaotic plains didn't have a time limit. Because there was a type of monster that could steal the effects of recovery medicine, using recovery medicine was equivalent to suicide. Every team would automatically leave after exhausting their pure aura. Generally speaking, a 10-man team in the chaotic plains would farm for 30 minutes. The more powerful ones could farm for up to 50 minutes. The dungeon efficiency is a bit low. Lu Chen scratched his head. Old man, do you still want to level up? Cowherd said, I don't want to. Although there aren't many layer 3 monsters, they give a lot of experience. Leveling up isn't slow. My normal level cap is 150. With a 30% increase from Heaven's Might, I'm now level 195. In layer 3, Heaven's Might was normal. There was nothing strange about it. Cowherd had been in layer 3 for many years, so it was normal for him to reach the max level. Lu Chen had Heaven's Might, which increased his level cap by 60%. When he was in layer 2, he was level 160. In layer 3, he could reach level 240. At this time, there were long lines in the 3 dungeons and the chaotic plains. Lu Chen looked around and found that the people in front of him would have to wait a few days if they wanted to line up according to the order. There were people in front of him selling their seats. The seats near the front were all sold with military merits. Lu Chen and Cowherd had already used up their military merits. They couldn't afford it for the time being. Is there no way to avoid queuing? Lu Chen frowned. Cowherd thought for a moment and said uncertainly, I remember that this kind of place used to have record-breaking events. I don't know if they still exist now. I haven't been out for too long. Coincidentally, Cowherd's words were heard by a few people nearby. They looked at the old man and the young man. Break a record. There is an event. Can you guys break it? If you have the ability, don't wear fashionable clothes. Show us what equipment you have. Let me see how many immortal tier weapons you have. You still dare to think about breaking the record? A record that hasn't been touched for 7 years, and you dare to say that you want to break it? Do you know who set the record here? It's best to ask around before you speak. The current record can't be broken at all. Do you really think that so many of you are just eating rice? You dare to break the record with just 2 people? You're simply looking down on us. Lu Chen didn't know why their conversation would trigger some people's nerves. However, he did not have time to pay attention to these people because he had heard an important piece of news. There had always been record-breaking activities. Old man, let's go and take a look. At the front of the line, a few people from the Maple Leaf family were maintaining order. At this moment, an old man and a young man walked over. Among these people, most of them were wearing gray family uniforms. One of them was wearing white clothes. It seemed that his status was not the same. His ID was Maple Leaf Tassel. At this moment, he was sitting cross-legged and cultivating spiritual energy. Stop, what are you running around for? Someone immediately stopped Lu Chen and Cowherd. Go to the back and line up. I want to ask, if we break the record here, does that mean we don't have to line up? Suddenly, Maple Leaf Tassel opened his eyes. He slightly narrowed his eyes and looked at the person who spoke. This person was wearing a bright red outfit. However, he didn't look feminine. Instead, he had a bloodthirsty aura. Break the record? The Maple Leaf guard coldly snorted. Do you know what the record here is? Break the record? It's best to ask around before coming back. Go back and line up. Lu Chen smiled slightly. You don't seem to understand my question? That person frowned. I told you to go back and line up. Why are you taking advantage of me? Lu Chen was a little impatient. What? You don't let people break the record here. Of course, you can't break it. How do you know if you don't try? At this moment, Maple Leaf Tassel stood up. Little Ming. Seeing that the person behind him had left, the guard immediately shut up and retreated to the side. Maple Leaf Tassel slowly walked towards Lu Chen. Young man, of course you can challenge the record here. However, in order to prevent people from cutting the line in the name of challenging the record, we will decide your punishment according to your challenge results. Lu Chen curled his lips. Punishment? Maybe I'll succeed in the challenge? Tassel smiled slightly. Do you know who set the record in our Maple Leaf City? I don't know. You don't need to know the name of that team. You just need to know that there are 5 destined marshals and 5 titled marshals in that team. There were some people around who didn't know about this matter. When they heard Tassel's words, they immediately exclaimed, My God, 5 destined marshals? What kind of team has such a luxurious configuration? No wonder people say that the record in Maple Leaf City can't be broken. A team of 10, 5 titled marshals, and 5 destined marshals. This is already a top-notch configuration. At first, I was wondering what kind of monster's record of 4 hours and 38 minutes was. It turns out that it was set by such a team. No wonder. Sung was also a little nervous. He pulled Lu Chen's arm. Sigh, 4 hours and 38 minutes. This result is a little scary. Lu Chen rolled his eyes at Sung. Old man, can you have some confidence in me? It's not that I don't have confidence. This isn't a competition of one's ability to fight alone. It's a competition of endurance. They are a team. Pharmacists can add spiritual energy. In that team, the weakest is a titled marshal. Their spiritual energy recovery must be very strong. Lu Chen shook his head. Are you saying that I can't last long? Are you kidding me? My endurance is very strong. Don't say anything, Just follow me. Tassel saw that Soong was persuading the kid and smiled. How about it? Do you still want to challenge? Lu Chen turned his head and smiled. Challenge. Let's pick these records together. Everyone almost spat out a mouthful of blood. After talking for so long, this guy actually gave up on challenging them. Then let me make it clear. We will start from the plains of chaos. If the two of you can't last 180 minutes, you are not allowed to come to the wilderness for a month. If the two of you can't last 120 minutes, we will expel you from Maple Leaf City. If the two of you can't last 60 minutes, it will be considered a provocation to Maple Leaf City. After killing you, you will be wanted in the entire city. Chapter 5:12. Now, do you still want to challenge? Lu Chen said without hesitation, yes. Hey little Ming, announce it to the whole city. Lu Chen also received the announcement from Maple Leaf City. Someone was going to challenge Maple Leaf City's record that had been sealed for 7 years. A large number of people came from all over the city and surrounded the Q point in the wilderness. Which Marshal Tianming is leading the team. Maple Leaf City's record has been sealed for 7 years. Can anyone break it? It said that only 2 people came to challenge it. Is it true? People craned their necks and looked inside. The ground under Lu Chen's feet suddenly rose slowly and turned into a high platform. Maple Leaf Tassel walked to the front of the platform and said to everyone, I'm very happy that someone is willing to challenge our Maple Leaf City's record today. The previous team Tianming has already turned Maple Leaf City's record into a legend. I also hope to make Maple Leaf City's record go one step further and let other cities see Maple Leaf City's strength. Of course, in order to protect everyone's interests and prevent people from playing tricks, those who fail the challenge will be severely punished by our Maple Leaf City. This time, the challengers announced that they want to challenge all the events in Maple Leaf City's wild area. Let's welcome these 2 challengers. The crowd below was in an uproar. Is it really just 2 people? Damn, they're here to be funny. It's not Marshal Tianming. These 2 people are really reckless. With the intensity of the chaotic plains, our team can only hold on for 47 minutes at most. Moreover, the wild monsters are getting stronger and stronger. The difficulty is increasing geometrically. A record of 4.5 hours is simply inhumane. They still want to break the record? Dream on. Lu Chen and Cowherd were pushed to the front of the platform. Cowherd looked hopeless. Kid, why do I feel like I'm going to be wanted by another city? Lu Chen rolled his eyes at him. Old man, I'm here. What are you afraid of? It's because of you. Otherwise, why would I come to challenge this record? At this time, a Maple Leaf City guard came over. Now, please take off your clothes. Lu Chen looked frightened. Why do we have to take off our clothes? We're here to break the record. What does that have to do with fashion? We want to disable the invisibility effect on your equipment to prevent people from cheating in order to break the record. Lu Chen and Cowherd looked at each other, their faces filled with horror. If you refuse to cooperate, you will fail the challenge. Cowherd couldn't help but shake his head. I told you, take it off. You can't lose because of this. Lu Chen took a deep breath and looked below the stage. There were many female audience members who were eagerly waiting. Fine, I'll take it off. I'm not at a disadvantage anyway. As soon as the 2 of them took off their clothes, everyone was stunned. Both of them were wearing the same type of underpants and were shirtless. These 2 people didn't have any equipment on them. To be more precise, Lu Chen was in a better state, as he had a strange sword hanging by his side. Cowherd was even worse off, as he didn't even have a weapon. Suddenly, a sharp female voice came from below the stage. What a hooligan! Little Ming, the Maple Leaf Guard, was speechless. I told you to take off your clothes, not your equipment. Put it on. Especially you, you're just an old man, yet you're still so dirty. Lu Chen couldn't help but want to laugh. Cowherd was a legendary figure in Green Rock Planet, yet he was called dirty. Kid, what are you laughing at? Cowherd's face turned red and white. After holding it in for a long time, he said to Little Ming, I don't have any equipment. If you don't have any equipment, then why did you come to challenge? You go ask him. Little Ming walked in front of Lu Chen. What about you? Where's your equipment? Here, this is my sword. You're only equipped with a sword? Yes. Little Ming almost suffered internal injuries from holding it in. He looked back at Liusu blankly. Marshal, this? Maple Leaf Liusu didn't react for a while. After a few seconds, she said, seal the invisibility effect on his weapon. Little Ming took out a talisman, muttered something, and then pressed it on Limitless Sword. Lu Chen secretly ordered Limitless Sword in his mind. Don't move. After the talisman was pressed on the sword, it quickly disappeared. Lu Chen checked Limitless Sword and found that a line of small words appeared on it. Invisibility effects are disabled. Lasts for 24 hours. Looking at the two challengers on the stage who were only wearing underpants, the audience had already exploded. This is really funny. It's fine if they're not Marshal Tianming, but they don't even have equipment? These two people are tired of living. I've really never seen such a weirdo in my life. Are they humiliating Maple Leaf City? Let's wait for them to be killed. Remember the appearance of these two people. When the time comes, they will definitely be wanted in the city. Killing them will be rewarded with military merits. Lu Chen also had no choice. The culprit of all this was Limitless Sword, who asked this guy to eat both his and Cowherd's equipment. Speaking of which, they only sealed the invisibility effect on the equipment, but they didn't seal Xiaomin's invisibility. However, Lu Chen was going to gain experience, so it didn't make any difference whether he was invisible or not. Maple Leaf Liusu said, I hope you're not trying to play to the gallery. You're only allowed to use the temporary backpack provided by us. Lu Chen shrugged indifferently, can we wear the clothes now? Up to you. After putting on the clothes again, the two finally breathed a sigh of relief. After waiting for a while, the previous group came out. At this time, Lu Chen and Cowherd also entered the chaotic plains. Hey kid, save your spiritual energy. It's not that easy to last for 4.5 hours. Cowherd's worry wasn't unreasonable. Under normal circumstances, let alone the Heavenly Fate Marshals, even the Heavenly Fate Marshals had enough spiritual energy for a fight. However, 5 Heavenly Fate Marshals and 5 Title Marshals only lasted for 4.5 hours. The chaotic plains were not that easy to pass. Although Lu Chen killed the 9-clawed black dragon, he didn't really use many techniques. Strong explosive power didn't mean that he had strong endurance. However, Lu Chen wasn't in a hurry at all. Old man, let's go. Let's get a set of equipment first. The two stepped into the black hole entrance at the same time. As soon as they entered the chaotic plains, Lu Chen found that he had directly entered battle mode. In the vast plains, there were huge monsters everywhere. Not only did they have the bloodlines Lu Chen had, but there were also many species that Lu Chen had never seen before. There were monsters on land and in the sky, filling the chaotic plains. These monsters were huge, with the largest exceeding 100 meters. They were even fighting with each other. Near the entrance of the chaotic plains, there was a fortification made of some kind of metal. It looked like a triangle formed by 3 huge shields. At the 3 corners, there was a small opening that could fit 2 or 3 people. The top was open, but the opening wasn't big. If one person guarded it, it could block the attacks of the aerial units. No wonder only one group can enter at a time. Lu Chen suddenly realized. If it weren't for this metal structure, normal groups wouldn't be able to survive so many monsters. Kid, I'll guard the opening at the top. You take care of the 3 below, Cowherd immediately said. I don't know if I can block without equipment. Lu Chen smiled. Old man, you haven't seen me farm before, right? Of course I haven't. Then that's it. How many monsters can you farm here? Let's go out and farm. Chapter 5:13. When Lu Chen walked out of the fortifications, a large number of wild monsters rushed over. It was a black mass, and it was very eye-catching. Kid, come back. Cowherd shouted anxiously, but the kid did not turn around. This guy, you're here to break the record. Can't you be a bit more stable? Cowherd could only follow. Lightless Sky Flame Pillar. Black Coffin Death Zone. These 2 skills that had not been used for a long time finally had a chance to be used. Colorless pillars of light shot up into the sky. Under the buff of Everlasting Sword, the range of each pillar was at least twice as large as before, and the frequency was also faster. As long as a monster was hit by a pillar of light, they would be stunned and receive damage for 3 seconds. Moreover, they would also receive continuous damage from the Black Coffin Death Zone. Their health bars were slowly decreasing. The monsters all have hundreds of millions of health? Lu Chen frowned slightly. These 2 skills alone were not enough to kill the monsters here. He needed to add something else. Little Green, come out, too. I'll help you level up and use your man's heavenly certificate. I'll earn it. Boss, you're the best. Lu Yi immediately used man's heavenly certificate. Suddenly, countless flower petals fell from the sky. As long as one touched the petals, they would be poisoned. Minus 8,442, minus 8,442, Little Green's level was still too low, so the damage was almost negligible. This time, Lu Chen directly used a skill duplication scroll. Little Green's skill level was not high, so he should be able to duplicate it. Man's heavenly certificate obtained. Do you wish to learn it? When Lu Chen used man's heavenly certificate, the poison damage rapidly increased. A large number of monsters began to appear above their heads. -1. 38 million, poisoned. -1. 38 million, poisoned. Lu Chen frowned slightly. The damage was still a bit too low. Speaking of which, the monsters here really did have high health, and these were only the outermost monsters. The efficiency is too low. Looks like I'll have to do it myself. Cowherd looked at Lu Chen in horror. The efficiency was still low? This guy's solo combat ability was already so strong, but his AoE farming ability was also so terrifying? It's a pity that this daddy's bow and arrows were swallowed by the limitless sword. Otherwise, shooting from a distance would be much faster. Just as Lu Chen was complaining, the voice of the limitless sword's artifact spirit sounded in his mind. I swallowed the abyss bow, but you can still use the bow and arrow. Just pull the bowstring. Lu Chen furrowed his brows. He took a bow stance and made a bow. As expected, an illusory longbow appeared in his hand. When he placed the black crystal arrow on it, it was as if he had placed it on the abyss bow. So that's how it works. That's great. Let's start then. God of War Possession. Demon Transformation. 3 Devil Transformations. Dark Elemental Attack Change. Put him to death. Dragon Blood Boil. Lu Chen gave himself a bunch of buffs, increasing his attack power. Demon Doppelganger. Demon Kings will refresh. Demon Doppelganger. At the same time, more than 30 Lu Chen clones appeared. Long-range shooting. A longbow appeared in the hands of the doppelganger. After 10 seconds of preparation time, a large number of arrows were shot in all directions, like a rain of arrows. Whoosh 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 whoosh. The sea of arrows was like an army pressing down on the wild monsters. Following that, countless damage values filled the sky. In addition to the 3 big AoE skills from before, Sui could see all kinds of damage values. Sui was shocked to the extreme. This is too exaggerated. You can still use AoE skills at the 3rd layer of heaven? As a legendary character of the Green Rock planet, Sui had also used AoE skills to level up. However, at the 3rd layer of heaven, a wild monster could easily have hundreds of millions of HP. Who could use AoE skills? However, Lone Tyrant was still able to move. Not only was there no danger to himself, but his speed was also amazing. You little brat, do you think it's so easy to level up? Sui looked at Lu Chen. It took me several years to level up. With your speed, wouldn't you be able to level up in a month? Lu Chen said seriously, the 3rd layer of heaven is truly worthy of being called the 3rd layer of heaven. Even wild monsters are so hard to kill. Hard to kill your head. You know, even Martial Destiny can't farm like you. You should be content. Lu Chen laughed. Old man, don't interrupt. I'll throw the equipment on the ground and you can pick it up yourself. Just wear it first and wait for the dungeon to drop good equipment before changing. A few minutes later, Lu Chen's system interface began to refresh. Killed 3 King Kong, 2nd advancement demon level 120. Obtained 36 million auras. Obtained second advancement rank 1 talent fragment x3. Obtained second advancement 1 star evolution points x3. Ding. Obtained King Kong bracers, dark gold, x2, greed effect triggered. Obtained beast core, orange, x2, greed effect triggered. Obtained King Kong talons, orange material, x2. Killed golden goshawk, second advancement demon level 128. Obtained 36. 24 million auras. Obtained second advancement rank 1 talent fragment x3. Obtained second advancement 1 star evolution points x3. Ding. Obtained golden beak, dark gold material. Obtained beast core, orange. Killed sturdy root treant, second advancement demon level 142. Obtained 38. 8 million auras. Obtained second advancement rank 2 talent fragment x2. Obtained second advancement rank 2 evolution points x2. Lu Chen had not leveled up yet, but Lu Yi was already enveloped by a white light. Master, I leveled up again, I leveled up again. Cowherd's eyes had already turned red. Miss Lu, I can't see you anymore. Heavens, how can you level up like this? Lu Chen had also obtained a pile of equipment. Among the monsters in the third heaven, the worst was purple equipment. Most of them were orange equipment, and dark gold equipment was quite common. The drop rate of dazzling gold equipment was quite low. However, even if the drop rate was low, it was not enough to withstand such a large number of monsters. Not long later, a large pile of equipment appeared in front of Cowherd. Old man, since you have nothing to do, help me organize the equipment. Lu Chen was busy farming. No matter what the quality is, as long as it's new, pick it out. If there's a good one, then use it. If there isn't, then forget it. Find yourself a set to wear. Throw the rest in a pile. Cowherd looked at the equipment in front of him and was a bit absent-minded. The equipment here, if it was dark gold or above, could be sold for a lot of military merit. The lower quality equipment could be sold to refiners to train their skills. It was also a large income. This was the first time he was picking equipment like this. I'm sitting on top of a mountain of gold. Not long later, Cowherd found more and more equipment. If he did not hurry up, he might not have enough time to choose. Kid, then I'll start. Right? Pay attention to your spiritual energy. If you use AoE attacks like this, you might not have enough pure spiritual energy. Those monsters that come out of the ground, we call them gluttonous monsters. Once you use recovery medicine, they will steal the recovery status. About an hour later, more monsters came from the distance. Be careful, the second wave is coming. This wave has more health. How much pure spiritual energy do you have left? Lu Chen looked at his status. I've used it all. AoE attacks consume too much pure spiritual energy. I can only last for an hour. No problem, I still have this, Lu Chen said. He raised one hand and the dark Huangsa orb appeared in his palm. Spiritual energy storm. In a few seconds, Lu Chen's pure spiritual energy was replenished. This is a fake Mukin orb. Cowherd looked at Lu Chen in shock. You can even get this thing? I thought you could only look at it and not take it? Lu Chen put away the Mukin orb and looked at Cowherd with disdain. Who said you can't take it? At first, you couldn't take it, but you can take it after completing a legendary hidden mission. Cowherd's face stiffened. Legendary hidden mission. There are legendary hidden missions in the first layer of heaven? Even if there are, who can complete a legendary mission in the first layer of heaven? I say, what kind of monster are you? Lu Chen laughed and said half-truthfully, you're right. Have you heard of the weak gnolls? Chapter 5:14. An hour later, outside the Maple Leaf City farming spot, there were already people talking about it. What's going on? They haven't come out yet? It's been an hour. Don't tell me those two Luonans can hold on for so long. Our team can't even hold on for an hour. Yeah, don't tell me there's some special method. Boss Liusu, can you disclose the number of monsters killed? We suspect that they're cheating. Liusu looked at the time. An hour had passed. Those two people who didn't even have any equipment, it was impossible that they hadn't come out yet. Show me the data of the chaotic planes. A huge translucent data window was displayed on the platform. Chaotic Plains data map. Current number of people in the plains, 2. Current number of monsters killed in the plains, 488 normal third-class advancement monsters, 51 elite monsters, 7 bosses. Time used, 58:46. The audience instantly exploded. Impossible. 550 monsters killed in less than an hour? Absolutely impossible. I swear with my life that the data must be wrong. We can only kill 30 to 40 monsters in an hour. The two of them killed 550 monsters? And 7 bosses. Even Destiny's team couldn't deal this much damage before. Calculating the damage, a monster has 500 million HP, an elite monster has 1.5 billion HP, and a boss has 3 billion HP. The two of them dealt 300 billion damage in an hour. How is that possible? Maple Leaf Liosu hurriedly checked the data window. There was no mistake. This is impossible. How can anyone deal such high damage? Boss Liosu, should we show the scene of the plains? Xiaoming asked. Liosu frowned. Many people didn't want others to see their battle process. However, under certain special circumstances, as the owner of Maple Leaf City, they had the right to show the battle situation in the wilderness. However, it required a higher authority. It had to be activated by the owner of Maple Leaf City, who was also the patriarch of the Maple Leaf family. Let's wait for a while. The data is correct. With such a terrifying output, their pure aura can't handle it. Let's wait for them to come out first. 2 hours had passed, and the data in the data window was still jumping crazily. Current number of monsters killed in the plains, 721 normal third-class advancement monsters, 134 elite monsters, 22 bosses. There were more elites and bosses in the second wave of monsters, so the number of normal monsters killed slowed down. However, the number of elites and bosses killed had doubled. Little Ming, go and call the patriarch over. Not long after, the crowd at the back of the venue parted, and several Maple Leaf clan members in luxurious clothes rushed over. The leader was a burly man with sword-like eyebrows and tiger-like eyes. He strode towards the high platform with a few Maple Leaf clansmen behind him. They were both young and old. They looked at each other when they saw the data in the data window. Are these results real? Are you sure there's nothing wrong with the surveillance window? That's impossible, right? I dealt 700 billion damage in 2 hours. How can I still have points? Could it be that the strongest Heaven's Mandate is leading a team here? The Maple Leaf Master's ID was Maple Leaf Green Shirt. In the end, he directly teleported to the high platform. Liosu, turn on the screen. Uncle, are we really going to open it? If he didn't cheat, I'm afraid we'll have to apologize to him in public. Qing Shan's gaze turned solemn. Even the top 5 Destiny's Realm experts can't obtain such data. It's obviously fake. Taking a step back, if there is really someone who can achieve such heaven-defying damage, he can destroy half of my Maple Leaf City by himself. What harm is there in apologizing to him? Liosu nodded. Thus, Uncle. Not long after, the data window changed. Several data items moved up and were located at the top of the window. Below the window, there was a live broadcast of the chaotic plains. The image is connecting. Progress, 32%, 48%. I bet with my 20 years of experience that guy must have used some kind of opportunistic method. One of the Maple Leaf elders said, it's already a problem for him to live for so long with a naked body, let alone deal such high damage. I don't believe it even if you beat me to death. Could it be that they're fighting with a choke point? Impossible. It's impossible to deal such high damage when fighting with a choke point. There's an 80% chance that the data is wrong. Let's wait for the image. The image was finally connected. In the image, 3 figures gradually became clear. Hey, old man, I received a notification saying that Maple Leaf City is broadcasting. What does that mean? Lu Chen leaned against a large pile of equipment behind him and rested his head on his hands. It means what it means. They must be suspecting that we're cheating. Suaweng was still sorting out the equipment with his head down. Hey, kid, it seems that all the equipment here is here. There's no new equipment. Do you still want to look at the rest? Su Awen glanced at the pile of equipment in front of him and was a little scared. It's fine if you don't want to look at it. Anyway, there's not much difference in attributes. Help me choose a more handsome set, the one you just chose. Do you have to wear the same thing as me? It's just temporary. I have to change it when I go to the dungeon. You little brat, you're really lazy. At first, you were fighting in the jungle, but now you're letting your doppelganger kill monsters. Louis walked over. Elder Su'al choose. You can rest for a while. As she said that, a white light appeared under Louis's feet again. She leveled up again. But now she was numb. She was not as excited as before. These 3 people were not killing monsters at all. One of them was lying on the ground, and the other 2 were sorting out the equipment. It felt like they were rummaging through a garbage dump. The surrounding scene gradually became clearer. More than 30 doppelgangers were shooting arrows at the monsters, and the monsters around them were being whittled down by Lightless Sky Flame Pillar, Black Coffin Death Zone, Man's Proof of Heaven, and super long-range shooting. After seeing the scene, the crowd fell silent. Some people suspected that they were cheating, and some suspected that they were blocking the monsters. Although the surveillance footage showed that it was neither, it still exceeded everyone's expectations. These people were resting. Resting in the chaotic plains? Are you kidding me? That guy has so many doppelgangers? How can his doppelgangers have such high attack power? Then wouldn't his real body be even stronger? Those equipment are just piled up there? There's a lot of dazzling equipment in there. The data displayed on the window was still rapidly increasing. Their resting did not affect the progress of killing monsters at all. For hours later, the young man yawned and turned to the side. Xiaomin, help me use my doppelgangers. Don't let them disappear. I'm going offline to sleep. There was no sound in the spectator stands. That guy was in the chaotic plains, going offline to sleep. 12 hours later, the guy who went offline finally came online again. The equipment behind him was already piled up like a mountain. Old man, pick out the dazzling equipment. We'll split it in half and give it to our own people. No need. These are all yours. One set is enough for me. Don't mention it. You've helped me organize them for so long. It's not too much to ask for a fee. Lu Chen sat up and looked at Louis. She was already level 82. He himself had also increased by 4 or 5 levels. Today's efficiency was not bad. Now that this wave of monsters was all bosses, it was a bit difficult to kill them with AoE attacks. The doppelgangers had already changed to melee and fought with the bosses. Does the boss drop any new equipment? Lu Chen asked. No, but the chances of it dropping are higher. Then don't kill it. Leveling is too slow. If you want to get equipment, you have to go to the dungeon. The equipment here is not good. Put away the equipment and go out. After I go out, I'm going to ask that Maple Leaf family. Lu Chen stood up, his eyes gradually turning cold. Who gave you the right to spy on me when I'm leveling? As soon as he said this, the hearts of the Maple Leaf family members who were sitting in front of the data window all contracted tightly. Master, he seems to be angry. Chapter 5:15. The black hole opened, and Lu Chen and Cowherd walked out together. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Chen. He was the one fighting in the battle plains, and Cowherd was obviously his assistant. Lu Chen looked back. There were many people from the Maple Leaf clan, and a few of them were older. Their clothes were inlaid with gold. His voice suddenly turned cold. I don't mind if you steal my equipment, but you broadcast my leveling without my permission. That's against the rules. Lu Chen frowned and turned to look at the Maple Leaf clan. He snorted coldly. When we challenged the record, you said that we would be killed on the spot in less than 6 minutes and wanted in the city. Now, I'll give you a chance. If your explanation doesn't satisfy me, I'll destroy Maple Leaf City. Maple Leaf Green Shirt trembled in fear. This guy was really giving them a taste of their own medicine. He wanted to destroy Maple Leaf City. Sir, please calm down. Someone immediately came forward to mediate. Maple Leaf Green Shirt hurried forward. Please calm down. Your damage is too high. We really don't understand. That's why we started the broadcast without consulting you. Yes, sir. We've been in Maple Leaf City for almost 100 years, but we've never seen such ridiculous numbers. We couldn't believe it at that time, so gentlemen, let's talk it over. We've seen your strength and we admire you greatly. To be honest, our Maple Leaf City is also very proud to have such a terrifying record. We just want to ensure the fairness of the competition. Lu Chen looked at the Maple Leaf clan. Their attitude of apologizing wasn't bad. Moreover, he had received the news in the battle planes, so it might have been them who sent it. Although they watched Lu Chen fight without permission, they at least notified him in advance, making up for it. Lu Chen wasn't a stingy person. Since these people were willing to admit their mistakes, he wouldn't really destroy their city. After all, a two-star clan couldn't compare to a powerful force like the Dongfang clan. They only had a few titled marshals to hold the fort. Lu Chen's record was 3 times that of the Destiny Squad. These people naturally didn't dare to offend him. Kid, forget it. They've already admitted their mistakes, Cowherd said. Lu Chen nodded and exhaled. All right, since your attitude isn't bad, I won't argue with you this time. Thank you, sir. That dungeon record, Maple Leaf Green Shirt hurriedly said. Sir, you've just farmed the Battle of Beasts Plains for 2 hours. You must be tired. Why don't you take a rest before you challenge again? Maple Leaf Tassel added, the 2 of you should be staying in Maple Leaf City to level up. May I know where the 2 of you are staying now? Tong Fuin. Why don't the 2 of you stay in our Maple Leaf estate? At least the environment is better. Yes. Since you 2 distinguished guests can come to our Maple Leaf City, how can we not do our duty as hosts? Come to our residence and have something to eat first. Our chef's cooking skill is already at level 7. The food he cooks will definitely satisfy you too. Lu Chen was not tired. His main task was to take a nap. However, considering that Cowherd and the others might be tired, he decided to postpone the challenge for the time being. On the other hand, Lu Chen had some questions he wanted to ask the people of Tier 3. Forget about living there. However, if your cooking skill is at level 7 and your skills are the same as chasing clouds, I can give it a try. Seeing that Lu Chen agreed, the people of the Maple Leaf family finally breathed a sigh of relief. Lu Chen and Cowherd followed Maple Leaf Green Shirt down the high platform and walked towards the city. Green Shirt and the others did not dare to neglect Lu Chen and the others. They had already set up a table full of delicacies. As a family, they definitely had a lot of ingredients stored. Unlike Chasing Cloud, who was stingy and always roasted meat as if it was his own. Lu Chen grabbed a piece of roasted meat and tasted it. The taste was slightly worse than Chasing Cloud's roasted meat, but it was still delicious. During the meal, Green Shirt accompanied them. After chatting with Lu Chen and the others for a while, the atmosphere between the 2 sides became much more harmonious. Tassel asked curiously, the 2 of you, may I ask if the 2 of you are Martial Destiny? No, the old man is a general and I am a militia. Lu Chen directly answered. The few people at the table almost spat out the food in their mouths. Militia? Impossible. Lu Chen directly showed his position. He was a militia. Lu Chen looked at the shocked expressions of the crowd. He put down the food and smiled. Is the military rank that important? Tassel wanted to say that of course the military rank was important. It was almost the most important proof of strength in Tier 3. It could be exchanged for items and was also a symbol of status. In short, in Tier 3, everything depended on the military rank. Green Shirt said, little brother, the military rank is still very important. If you are a Martial Destiny, we would not dare to spy on you. Lu Chen nodded. Green Shirt seemed like an honest person. Maybe it is very important, but I don't care. I also don't want to be promoted. One of the juniors could not help but be curious and asked, why? Green Shirt glared at his juniors. Little brother, you naturally have your own thoughts. Don't talk too much. Lu Chen smiled. Actually, it's nothing. I just feel that the so-called battles in Tier 3 are meaningless. After taking a sip of tea, Lu Chen sighed softly. During this period of time in Tier 3, he had been to many places in the outer villages of the human race, the Heaven's Punishment Tower, the City of Exiles, the demon race's territory, the dragon necropolis, and Maple Leaf City. He had a deeper understanding of Tier 3. Lu Chen looked at Qing Shan. I've fought with many alien races, and I've also fought with human experts. The advantage of humans isn't in one-on-one combat. Many of the alien races are much stronger than humans of the same level. Green Shirt nodded. There was no doubt about this. Many races had their own racial characteristics, and these characteristics were also reflected in the game. The physical body of the demon race, the spiritual power of the demon race, the agility of the demon race. Humans actually lost at the starting line. Little brother, we all know what you said. At the same level, humans are no match for the foreign races. This has been proven countless times. Lu Chen nodded. So, humans actually have no advantage here? Under such circumstances, humans still don't know how to unite to fight against the enemy. What kind of privileges are these? It's really meaningless. No matter how strong a race is, if they can't unite, they will eventually go extinct. Lu Chen thought of the ancient dragon race. Their individual strength gave him a headache, but in the end, they also became the words on the stone tablet. Green Shirt was stunned on the spot. This kid's thoughts were exactly the same as his own in the past. In some cities with wild areas, there was a fee to farm wild areas. Moreover, not everyone could farm wild areas. However, Maple Leaf City's wild areas only had one requirement. One could enter as long as they lined up. No matter if they were originally from Maple Leaf City or not, they were open to everyone. From this point of view, Maple Leaf City was considered to be relatively fair. And this point also reflected the Maple Leaf family's desire to improve everyone's strength. Although their city wasn't considered a paradise, at least they had action. Lu Chen shook his head. Some people are willing to sacrifice themselves for others, while some people betray their fellow people for their own selfish interests. What top 10 forces? They are all doing things their own way. In order to compete for the quota to go to the Tower of Babel, no one really thinks for the entire human race. Green Shirt was a little excited. Little brother, then what do you plan to do next? Lu Chen took a deep breath. Only those with the title of Marshal and above can participate in the tournament. However, each of the 5 major families has a quota to waive the military rank requirement. As for others, if they are jointly recommended by several families, they can waive the military rank requirement. As he spoke, Lu Chen looked at Green Shirt. I hope you can support me in participating in the tournament. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.